check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. What up? What up? It's the AGM podcast once again. Got my wonderful co-host with me, my boy Dorian, aka Huso, and our lovely queen Yana Captivates. And today got my little bro Bug on the camera. Once again, thank y'all for the feedback, man. Continue to send it in. The AGM podcast or allgrindmedia21 at gmail.com. Just continue to, send the love in, man. We got a lot in store today, man. So let's just get into it. We've been dealing with this COVID thing pretty much the entire year.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure none of us would have guessed that going into 2021, we still be full blown dealing with this. Right. But
I would have guessed.
Fortunately, we are. And especially for us specifically, since we have a governor who has been very attentive to this, we are officially on another shutdown.
Right.
Starting on, I think this past Saturday.
Right. We got a curfew and all that.
Yeah, 10 o'clock curfew. So basically, what I'll start with regarding this is, do y'all feel like another shutdown is necessary, or like do y'all feel like it's like it was effective, or it can be effective, or does it need to be enforced more, or do you think there's another route they should go?
Honestly, at this point, I can't even call it, bro. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's working. I don't know what's not working. I know around the corner from my house is like a clinic where people get COVID tested, so it's longer lines around the clinic. So I know it's more so on the minds of people. I don't typically watch the news like that, but when I go to like my grandma's house, she got the news on, like on the side of the screen, like how they do it. They like have like the death toll, how many people died today, how many people died this year, how many people have been infected.
I'm getting emails.
So
like
it's like it's on the consciousness of the people for sure. But I can't really say how big of an issue it is. I can't really say compared to like other diseases like tuberculosis or just other diseases that kill hundreds of thousands, millions of people every single year. And it's kind of like we had one shutdown. Apparently numbers went back up after election and all that stuff. I don't know. We're going for another shutdown. It's kind of like I don't know what's going on.
So basically you don't see a purpose for another one.
I don't really see a purpose, but I also know I'm not like in any type of position where I can get like actual facts on the subject to say this is what we should do or this is what we shouldn't do.
Gotcha.
I just know that there are people saying they got it, but then when you look at all the symptoms, you hear like all these different things. And it's just like, it's like information overload. It's kind of like, I don't really even know what to do, what's going on. So it's kind of like, you just kind of...
You gotta sit back.
Yeah, you gotta sit back and just get on a ride and just ride it out.
Right. You think it's necessary? Or?
I mean, I feel like it made some difference during the last one, after it ended.
Okay. Oh yeah, for sure.
Based on the numbers, it did seem to flatten the curve a bit. Do I think it's necessary? I feel like it won't hurt. I feel like people got a bit too excited when it came, even in other states, Atlanta and other places. It's like, yeah, well, everything's open.
Right.
Y'all packing out clubs and stuff as if it just disappeared and it's not gone. Like, it's still here, so let's not act like we didn't ask for this again.
Right.
So... I hate it, of course. Doesn't everybody? However, if it can make a difference and a little bit of inconvenience can help us get back to normal, then I'm for it. And then my mom being in the medical field, I get a first-hand look, or second-hand in a sense. She gets the first-hand look of taking care of people, seeing COVID change, seeing people get tested and coming back negative just to get x-rays and see that the virus is already in their lungs, but they can't do nothing about it but wait until the symptoms come up. And then people are dying, and I still see it's been a very big increase, and it's unfortunate because things have just gotten a lot stricter. But I don't think it'll hurt. I feel like if we complied a little more than maybe we have been more down for, then we definitely will be a lot further later. What about you?
I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that they told us that we needed to do is like should have been normal anyways.
Absolutely.
Like staying sanitized, washing your hands, not being so, close the way. Yeah, like as far as the necessity for it, I mean, I can't help but think like, especially as a basketball fan, because I remember like the first gut punch, as terrible as this gonna sound, the first gut punch to me realizing COVID was real was when they shut down the NBA,
Right.
and it was because Rudy Gobert had contracted it, and they found
that
out
was real though. Like, cause when that happened, I was like, oh, this is like they taking it serious.
Right.
Like, they taking it serious.
And to be honest, I don't think it's that crazy of a thought because the NBA shut down on the 13th. The actual worldwide shutdown was on the 17th. So clearly, they was looking at something too, to where it was like, okay, because a lot of sports fans or the people in charge of that were like trying to find ways to like, oh, let's just do no fans or let's just do this. The NBA was the first to make like a hard stance, like no, like cancel until further notice.
Being exchanged on the court, like it's kind of hard to get away from the contagious aspect of it.
And looking at that, I just can't help but think like, even though we're still where we're at, can we imagine if like the NBA and NFL and everybody was just like, oh yeah, we're still gonna have fans anyway, like nothing happened. Like how much, if it's still this bad, how much worse would it be?
How many people?
You know what I'm saying? If that wasn't to happen. So as far as like the second shutdown that we're on right now, I feel like if people were doing what the hell they were supposed to do in the first place, it wouldn't even be a conversation. Like, because most other countries, from what I heard, they pretty much over this already.
Right, because they follow the rules.
Back to normal, right? And they enforced it more. Like, as Americans, we spoiled as hell. Mm-hmm. So if you don't really enforce something, like really making sure, like, where exactly are you going? Why are you going there?
But even if you do, then it's martial law and it's a problem.
Yeah. Right.
Because it is, right.
Because we heard all the conspiracy stuff when it first happened. Like, oh, they're just trying to implement martial law and then this is going to happen. And this
America, it's a weird country. Like, because all of our states have like a different governing philosophy. So we're almost... I mean, we're the United States, but it's almost like we're individual countries. But
think about what a state is. A state is a country.
Yeah,
Everything else is considered a state or a nation.
So some states is like, I remember Nevada, they was like, yo, use us as a guinea pig. It's like, we not going to survive. And, the shutdown. It's like, we have to open up. And the other states are like, we don't care about masks. Everybody can eat where they want to eat.
Well, it depends, because some of them don't need them. Like, if you live in Wyoming or Idaho,
you can chill. It's not metropolitan cities like LA. It's like
there's literally millions of people.
But you have some hard-headed big cities like a Vegas, like a Houston, who like full blown. I remember seeing happen pool parties. Like they didn't miss their summer. Like they went hard.
They did.
Atlanta, I think Atlanta. They might have just now shut it down, but they still been having strip clubs open.
Some states they was like, we shut down for maybe like a month or two. And it's like we really got time for that. It's like you
just come in with the mask, we'll check your temperature at the door. Like, okay, that's cool.
So I mean. Yeah, and I'm kind of with you, bro. It's like what opinion can I have?
I've traveled around like the country, and it's like everybody's doing it so much differently than like from state to state. Right. Some states, it's like you don't, like you said in Texas, they wasn't tripping. It's like everybody you can come in.
Versus us being in Cali, they were hard.
California is different. Nevada is different, and Seattle is different, and Arizona is different. Everybody does it like a little bit different. California by far has the most strictest standards,
which they have to, considering
the amount of people.
Right, because I have one of my boys came out from Vegas. Not even just him. It was a lot of people that was coming out here from Vegas, and I remember like toward the beginning, they would like get a whole attitude because they would walk in the store and they're like, "Oh, put on your mask," and they wasn't used to that because they've been giving them so much freedom out there.
Right.
So yeah, you definitely spot on as far as like different states kind of operating as if it's like a whole different like country or dynamic.
Yeah, it's just weird.
So I mean, but how do y'all feel about like the kids basically like that's just starting school and dealing with like the digital world of this? Do you think this is gonna like cap them going forth? Do y'all think it'll have more of a negative than positive effect? I think y'all should figure.
I already feel like children nowadays have like a compared to how we had it growing up, and mind you, I'm 30, so they have like a handicap, if you will, as far as like on a social game, because they already like all of their phones and everything like that. So the fact, the only thing I feel like that was saving them was like you gotta get up and go to school and be around other people, and be social that way. But now it's like I don't even gotta leave my house. I can be on my computer all day, be on my phone all day, whatever they do all day. And I don't really have to go deal with a real actual person. I can just look at essentially
do TikTok all day.
Like all day. And it's like, damn. Not to mention whatever type of effects it's having on like their actual like learning. Like I couldn't possibly, as a child, I couldn't imagine getting a good education or learning math.
And you sitting at home.
I'm sitting at home. Like, I couldn't imagine.
Right.
You feel me? It's like
it's hard enough to do homework at home.
Especially for like the kids who, like all parents aren't as attentive as they should be.
Right.
Because you're supposed to be on your kids anyway when y'all at home and making sure they stay on top of their classwork and homework and all of that. So if you got something like this where they, you 5 years old and you walking into it and you gotta learn how to, what I'm saying, do stuff that we probably didn't learn till damn near high school.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the number one issue I have with it is, because I know there's a lot of parents that aren't, as attentive to it as they should be, which, because they probably got their own lives going on. They didn't plan for this either. Some of them might still have to work, so they got to figure out something in place. And also the social dynamic that you mentioned.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not able to interact with other kids and, make their friends. Like, how many friends we got that we know from school, you know what I'm saying, to this day. So I think they're also kind of losing out on that. I hate it. I wish there was something that they can, I know some daycares that are also schools, they allowing them to, I guess, go there because the daycare is considered essential. But yeah, I wish they can, figure out something regarding that. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, seeing my niece and nephew who's 6 and 3 and my sister having to be a teacher out of nowhere, with little to no teaching credentials, despite knowing this basic knowledge, it's still having to teach a small child how to human and how to go about the world and do decision making skills, problem solving, whatever. And that's not what parents are typically geared for or equipped for when people are literally going to school, getting degrees in order to be in the space to help rear these children in the way that we need to be reared as far as schooling and things of that nature. I feel like it's very difficult. It's hard to see in the sense of seeing her stressed out, tired, frustrated, seeing my nephew trying to, as a 6-year-old in first grade, he's trying to learn different things and struggling or even just getting distracted because young kids, they have short attention spans, which is another thing. They always trying to run around, hop around. When it comes to being at home, that's not going to be any different. If you try to get them to do homework and they trying to get up and go around and get some food and get a snack and all that, that's going to be the same trying to teach them school all day. I feel like it's definitely going to cap them socially for sure. I feel like it won't be nearly as beneficial, just in the sense of, they're not soaking it in the same as they're soaking in YouTube reviews and YouTube videos and TikTok videos. And they're not as captivated. And it kind of, for us growing up, because even myself, I was lucky enough to not have that kind of access to phones and stuff when I was young, so I had to learn through word games, through Leapfrog, through actual learning activities, and instead of just having my mind filled with absent-minded things, like just cartoons or just this, just the phone, just distracting things, like it was educational games. That was a very important thing, I feel like, more so when we were growing up. Even when it comes to penmanship, even when it comes to different things, like what's cursive to kids today. What is cursive? Like, most people don't even know what that is these days. And that's something that was taught from the jump on top of going to a Christian school, it's a different curriculum. But ultimately, I feel like, I hope it doesn't last long. I definitely hope we can get out of this because I don't think it's going to do our kids any favors. And that's putting an unfair and unrealistic expectation on parents to be able to do the jobs that teachers openly study and perfect to do. You know, like they perfect this. They know how to work with kids. Some parents aren't as attentive, like you said, aren't as involved. They aren't as equipped. They aren't ready to be teaching their kid every single thing, like 2 + 2 = 4.
And then the schools are still charging the same amount.
That part, right. They're not trying to ease up nothing. Like
it's
they
like
can
we're
cut
not
rent
going to the school.
Waive that. They can do school fees and drop them. Like,
because there's a reason they have it in place to where only a certain amount of students could be, you know, per teacher, because you need that attentiveness.
Attention,
when it
right.
comes to
Small
that.
groups
Especially
are definitely
with
important.
kids.
Small group instruction.
Right, exactly.
Definitely important, just so everybody can get the attention and the access that they need to the knowledge and resources that they have.
Right. Yeah, and to everybody listening, man, do your research. You know,
and listen to your kid. I feel like that's important during this time.
Right.
Do listen to your kid. Don't just dismiss it as being irritated or just them being nonchalant or having a short attention span. Sometimes, you know, there is some things deeper than that.
That was hard for our parents before this stuff.
And it is. But I feel like the way mental health is extenuated and highlighted these days, let's not shy away from the fact that kids are small humans. They deal with things too. They don't know how to put the words. They don't have the comprehension. Right. So they won't handle it as well. They will lash out in ways that we are not expecting because we're used to adult humans lashing out in different ways that are more expected. Just be patient. That's what I'm trying to offer. To parents out there, be patient with your kids. Be patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It's a learning experience for everybody. And it just takes time. And hopefully we don't have to stick in it.
So on our very first episode, I remember we were talking about the Jeezy and T.I. verses.
Right.
And this guy to the right of me said something that made me go, nigga, you on a pipe dream right now.
Wait, do you remind me what I said? I feel like I said something wrong.
He said, I would rather see a Jeezy and Gucci verses.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, that was right.
I told him that was a pipe dream.
And
here we are.
No, that's what the people wanted. That's what we wanted to see.
But to be fair, we were all on edge.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, is this don't work? This cut a little deep.
Yeah.
Like,
now that's beef. That's a real beef.
Man, when you think of all the hip hop's beefs in the past, I could probably only think of maybe 2 or 3. That's on that level, because it was lives lost over that, and Gucci and Jeezy are so damn stubborn that because first of all, the beef started for nothing. Like, just to give y'all the background, I mean, nobody can pinpoint exactly what it was, but the narrative has always been that, like, it started over So Icy. Right. Gucci asked Jeezy to hop on So Icy. Gucci and Zaytoven already had it, but Jeezy reached out and wanted to do like a track with Gucci. Jeezy was like super buzzing in Atlanta at the time, so Gucci like jumped on it. So they did So Icy, and it ended up being like a local hit. It wasn't like national or nothing, but it was for sure like a local hit. So they did the song, and it was something about Jeezy potentially wanted like writing credits or wanted to use it on a project of his or something like that. And it just escalated into something totally
it got
far. Apparently Jeezy had put a price on Gucci head, and that didn't end well. I'm sure you don't know the story of that. Go look it up, but I'm pretty sure we all know that story by now. So I mean, I don't know if y'all both watched it or not, but from what y'all seen, like, what's your takeaway?
I loved every moment of it. Every moment of it. It was like it was hands down the best versus battle that's been done so far, because it's like it was just
the best or most entertaining.
It was the best. both because it's like, I mean, we've had like hip hop versus battles before, but it's like that one was
never on the edge of our seat the whole time.
Because it's almost like a running inside joke in the black community with like Jeezy and Gucci, because like Gucci is like an extreme, like he's make dope music, but he's known for being extremely ignorant,
right?
Like extremely like ignorant, just
for
like
sure.
But
as
it's
he
like,
displayed.
but it's also like you gotta respect it because it's like this nigga tried to send dudes to kill you and you end up killing them. So it's like whatever. But Jeezy is like he's more, you know, he reminds me a little bit more of like if I had to compare him to anybody, it'd be like more like a Jay-Z, where it's like you got the street knowledge, but you also understand that you gotta move differently and grow.
Right.
And so it's like, all right, but you was definitely on some bullshit back in the day, but now you've grown. But you know that beef is still there, so we seeing like two dynamics of like the street mentality play out in front of us, and so that by itself is dope. And they both make dope music, and just to see it play out, then to have them both in the same room with each other and knowing all of that, and it's like they probably got their homies, and it's like anything like when what's it called? You could have had a nigga moment at any time.
For sure.
Like I felt like we almost
had, but I
think
it was that was the closest to
it was
seeing
like
one.
Had like when Gucci played The Truth and started talking that shit. Had Jeezy got on his level,
but he didn't even just play it. This nigga would like added commentary, like put him in the dirt,
and he's like, it goes deep because it's like that was your homie. You got it, like you still cool with his children. You feel me? You probably know.
Well, apparently not.
Okay, well, apparently not cool with his, but it's like you got a relationship with his children. It's like that's embarrassing. Like I couldn't.
Yeah, because I don't know if you've seen it, but his son was actually on Facebook, like going hard on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Like
there you go. So it's like that's heavy. That's heavy. Like you can't. Like anytime somebody loses their life, that's like heavy.
Right.
It's heavy as hell. So just to watch it play out like that. It was the best one to me because it's like it had all the dramatics and then the music is good and it's like it just made me remember all these different times in my life, like from the songs that was being played. I was like, damn, I was like 15 listening to that, like, But yeah,
did you see it?
I did not see the whole thing. However, I did see a clip of them having the talk and Jeezy being more mature than Gucci Mane and not trying to be on that rah-rah shit. He was just trying to be on some civil, cordial shit, not trying to highlight gang violence or nothing. With King Von just recently passing, I felt that being very respectful. Right. I hella respected Jeezy. I fucks with Jeezy probably more than Gucci Mane just based off of me knowing more of Jeezy's music. Okay. So I fucks with Jeezy heavy, but ultimately it's like he came at it way mature. He didn't take the petty route. He handled like a grown ass man. Like, we not gonna do that rah-rah shit here. We're not here for that. Right. We trying to be here to show music and do whatever. And then the track he played after, I thought was a perfect embodiment of just chill out. Like, you know, he's not worried about you. Like, he's moving on to other things. Like you guys said, he's shown growth over these years. He's definitely shown that he knows how to elevate and get past certain things and not just be hung up on certain ideologies or lifestyles, which is pretty dope to me.
What do you have like any memories or of Gucci growing up or?
For Gucci, like 2010, not as much. I can't say that as much because for a while I was very standoffish for the fact that he was known for being ignorant. Like, nigga, what you got ice cream chatting on your face for? What you doing all this for? Like, you doing the most.
Damn,
like,
I forgot
your
about
lips is mad crusty, my nigga. You don't want to slap no Vaseline or nothing on that. Like, you need to carry yourself. That's just kind of, you know, that's beginning Gucci too, so to speak.
You know, like, more for the antics than his
right,
music.
absolutely. But I can't deny that he has had some great songs. But Jeezy, I more so know for the music as opposed to character. Right. And I know for a fact, like, I want to say TM103 is my favorite album from him.
You want to start something right now?
I don't, because I can't say that I'm super well versed in hella Jeezy's discography. I'm not gonna say that, but from what my time period and what memories I have with Jeezy music was that album mainly, and that's what really solidified my love for his lyricism and all that. Like, I fucks with it. So. And
you did hear 101 and 102, just for the record.
I can't say that I have. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Like, you know, that's what I'm saying. I can't say that I know all of his discography, but based on what I came up on, as in just, came across at the times where I came across it, that's the album that I am most well versed on.
And I will say 103 was a lot better than I recalled. I was listening to it the other day because he reminded me of it with some songs, and I was like, okay, this was a lot better than I gave her credit for it, but he just had such a high bar with his first 2 albums. Right. They was like certified hip hop classics. Right. So,
and for me, I didn't have that necessary knowledge beforehand. However, really fully get to know Jeezy through 103 was it for me. Because it's like, all right, you getting all these different features. They're with remarkable individuals. Jill Scott, all of them. It's like you're telling stories. You're intricate with it. You're not just being ignorant. Yeah, it's still hood, but you still talk about real shit. Like, and I fucks with that. Like,
and people forget that was one of Drake's like first big verses on the "Lose My Mind" remix. Like, I just got reminded of that.
Big turn of energy.
Yeah, like at that time, like. You know, I mean, he was on the crazy run, hopping on all kind of stuff. But I'm just saying that was one of the songs.
Let's not forget, like his brand new and so far gone and all that.
But yeah, when Jeezy played "Lose My Mind," I was like, yeah, it's over. It's over. It's
Bro,
over.
the crazy thing is, Jeezy didn't play like some stuff. Like, he missed "I Love It." He missed "Go Getter."
To be fair, Gucci didn't play some of his. Like, he could have played some more. Like, he didn't play "Freaky Girls." I would have set it off. For sure.
Okay, so all right, so that leads me to my next question. Who do you think won?
Oh, Jeezy won, hands down.
Okay.
Well, let me answer like this: on some just straight up music stuff, I feel like Jeezy won.
Okay.
On some music stuff, and then on some like maturity stuff, it kind of lended itself more to Jeezy, in my opinion.
I'll say you can't say Gucci was more mature in this.
Also, just straight up street shit. I can't just knock Gucci, because it's like at the end of the day, it's like, bro, fuck the music shit. Like, you tried to get me killed, and I killed your homies, and now you gotta suck it up and sit here and like make peace with me and do business. And while I'm talking shit to you and playing the song that I wrote about killing your homies, it's like you gotta eat it. So it's like on that level,
it's a slap in the face.
On some street shit, Gucci won. So I feel like they both won in different ways, and then they both made money together. Their profile is bigger now than it's probably been in the last couple months, probably in the last year or so. So they both won because they both was like, yo, we was on some knucklehead shit. What happened was unfortunate, and we not buddy. We can't be, but it's like we can set an example for everybody else. Yeah. That's like, even though we took it to the max, to the highest level that it can go, which is like death.
Yeah.
We can still sit here. You sitting on your throne, I'm sitting on my throne. You got your team, I got my team. You got your money, I got my money. You feel me? And we can still, tolerate to be around each other and make money with each other, do business with each other. And, we don't gotta be cool, but, we can both exist in the same spirit, and don't gotta be war. And I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
So as far as like the music aspect you were talking about, like when I watch these verses, I actually like run it down, and I counted like 17, 7.
Yeah, no. It
objectively.
It got
so you're adding "Freaky Girl" when he had like 4-5 hits that he didn't play. Come on, bro.
You're 100% right. I just wanted him to play "Freaky Girl" because it probably would have added more balance, but there's no way that Gucci catalog is fucking with Jeezy catalog, in my honest opinion.
And I said that when we had the conversation. I was like, I don't think. I mean, Gucci. I've noticed through this that Gucci has like a cult apparently that I didn't know about, because he has a lot of delusional fans who really think like nigga, my kitchen was not on Billboard, bro. That's like a hood classic.
But it's like with Gucci, and we can't take nothing away from Jeezy, because Jeezy, he put some artists on it too. But Gucci, I mean, he inspired generations of like younger, like pretty much.
But that's impact at that point. That's a different conversation.
Right, he's had
what you've done.
He's had a deeper impact, because like, take nothing away from Jeezy. Jeezy dope, but like for niggas, it's like in the street, it's like it's Gucci. It's like, I want to be the nigga that is killing niggas when niggas try to come and kill them.
I think the younger generation gravitated more towards Gucci, because Gucci had more of a grown sound. Even though I was in high school banging Jeezy, but I also used to get called old by everybody, so that kind of makes sense. But Gucci was more so for like the young niggas, and all those same young niggas are all like running the game right now. So
Gucci is on the raw shit. Like he embodies that like that warrior spirit that we like. Not saying that Jeezy doesn't, but it's a balance, because
Jeezy just comes off more mature with it. I just
Truly, so it's like
and more impulse
my
control.
homies, it's like we can't like it's like you really go back and forth with it.
Yeah.
But I see like I can't be mad at nobody. Like I'll debate forever if somebody say Gucci won, but I'm not mad at nobody.
Well, I for sure did see some Gucci fans that watched it, and I think they realized like, okay, Jeezy did win. Maybe if you weren't like a solidified Jeezy fan, you probably didn't realize like, oh wait, this nigga really had a lot of hits that I didn't realize.
I didn't realize his catalog was. I knew he had a deep one, but I didn't realize it was that deep. I was like,
yeah.
Man.
I mean, after looking at it, I'm like, maybe he could have talked to T.I. a little bit more than I thought. But I said that I was like, he might surprise me. So I think him and T.I. probably would have been the better one. But I also think this segues to the next topic. Like I think that was also needed. You know what I mean, for us to see them be able to come together. Because there was another conversation. Just speaking on forgiveness in general. Right. There was another conversation of like, a lot of people were kind of going in on Gucci because of how he handled it. They're like, oh, he's childish, and da-da-da-da-da. They was just super going in on Gucci. And even Charlamagne had posted something where somebody was saying like they 4 takeaways from it. And everything was basically speaking on the growth and maturity of Jeezy. And I don't know who this girl was, but she was some kind of like doctor or something, and she commented and she was explaining how we're all just looking at it from Jeezy's perspective, like, oh, he's being mature, but y'all not like taking it in that this nigga tried to kill Gucci.
Right,
so Gucci's also standing in there with somebody who tried to kill him.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I would ever stand in the room with a nigga that tried to kill me at some point.
Him for that. Like,
and
definitely being
and what she said was like, Gucci standing there and showing up alone shows maturity and growth. So it wasn't just Jeezy. But and the biggest thing I took from it that I thought was powerful was when she said like, basically you can't tell somebody how like when it's time for them to be hurt or not be hurt over something that y'all never addressed. Jeezy and Gucci has never had that conversation, and Jeezy had, it's like you said, he had to stand there and take it, and basically even though it doesn't look like that on the surface, but he really had to sit there and listen to Gucci of like why Gucci was hurt, like nigga, because you tried it, and just because you've grown up and matured since then doesn't mean he's supposed to just automatically be like, oh yeah, nah, I'm cool, even though he tried to kill me. Like, no, you don't get to dictate when somebody displays their forgiveness or not.
Bro, I'm telling you, like for him to like be up there with him, Jeezy, feel me, real estate, all that is beautiful. He won, but for Gucci to be up there, just period, and just not be on some like, we gonna clear this shit out.
Right.
You feel me?
Because that's what I didn't think it was safe. Gucci shared a picture the day before where somebody had made a joke of that line of like him saying it, and then Jeezy like reaching over and trying to do something. And I even when I seen the setup, you know what I mean? Like all the verses, niggas was standing right next to each other. They had like a whole gap stage where you would have to literally jump over the stage, jump on top. Like you would have did some extra stuff to get to him. So clearly they knew something could go down right there.
Being somebody who's on the outside looking in for sure, and without knowing as much context with their history and stuff, it's easy to be, I agree with her, it's easy to be like, yeah, Jeezy's being more mature because, of course, how Gucci Mane's talking, it seems childish, but without the insight, without the background, you don't understand how big of a person he's being by even showing up. And I can acknowledge that. And I can definitely commend that just because it does take a lot to be in the face of somebody, not only that you truly do not fuck with, but somebody who tried to kill you? Right. Absolutely not. Like, he was real big for that. Not knowing that. I mean, it was easy. And being slightly biased, being more of a Jeezy fan. It's like, Jeezy did his shit by not, stooping down to his level, so to speak, or not feeding into it to where it escalated and blew up.
Right. Yeah.
But hearing that insight, which I appreciate, it definitely makes more sense. Like, shout out to Gucci Mane for being a grown ass man about it.
And the reason why I have like so much respect for it is because they set a tone and an example really for the rest of us how to handle our beefs with one another. It's like if they can make it past, and their beef's like 15 years old.
Yeah.
So like they can make it past
20 years.
20 years. If they can make it past that to a point where it's like we don't have to kill each other. We don't gotta, you know, it don't gotta continue to be like a physical thing,
Right.
and we could actually move towards peace with one another. You know, that sets a great example. Like, you know, G says, like, we are the culture and we set the examples. Like the dudes that be on some, like the young dudes that's on some rah shit now, it's like we're responsible for that. Like they follow on our lead. So it's like now we have to set a better example, if not for them, the ones that's under them, or just whoever. Even if one person sees that and be like, you know what, they did it, so I guess, you know, all right, we can do it too. That's beautiful.
And it's a good example of agree to disagree.
Exactly.
Like y'all don't have to have the same opinions to be cordial with each other. Y'all don't have to be friends. Y'all don't have to be cool. Y'all don't have to be buddies. Y'all don't gotta hang out. But y'all can be cordial and just interact like just everyday individuals without having to be ready to take somebody's head off.
Right. Yeah, because I was surprised to even hear that Jeezy was like trying to reach out to do it in the first place, and they said Gucci did like deny it at first, but you know, I guess after some time he thought about it, you know, and I think you kind of hit it on the head with what you were talking about, like regarding, you know, mental health and hearing them out. Like I think Gucci basically was lashing out, like he didn't know how to say like, Jeezy, you hurt me with what you did. So that was his way of doing
being
it.
a man, being a black man, being a hood black man.
Right.
Exactly. He has no idea of any
he
type
just
of
didn't know how to
language.
communicate it.
Yeah,
exactly.
He doesn't know any language to depict what he's feeling in a certain type of way at different points. Like, and it's gonna come out seemingly erratic because he doesn't know how to fully center and focus and narrow down these things. That's not on him. That's just a product of your environment, period.
But honestly, that's why we love rappers, because they're so. It's like, you know what's like at the core. You know at the core it's like, nigga, I'm hurting, nigga, like I'm hurting. But it comes out like, nigga, I'm hurting, but I kill it, nigga. I'm a
to somebody who's outside looking in and don't
outside looking in, they just hear that like, oh yeah, the cars and the women
taking it literal.
But it's like when you get to the core, it's like, damn, that nigga's hurting. Like he's hurting shit.
And yes, you know, since we on forgiveness, it was another thing that I think people needed to see was between Will Smith and Janet.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, Janet. I'm just a weird individual. Like I'll watch shows or documentaries and I always dig deeper. So I always knew about Janet, like going at Will and Jada, and she's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah,
I've been
longer than
you know what I'm saying. I've seen it as recently as last year, videos that she made, like when I think when Jada wanted to protest
the
Oscars, like she was any chance she got.
She was on his bumper for sure.
And I always knew she was mad. I was always on her side because I've heard this story before, and obviously, you know, when you're Will Smith, like on the surface, nobody cares about you know the other person's side. But I learned even more from looking at the documentary. It was worse than what I even thought that she, you know, that she went through. And then Will confirmed that she was dead on, absolutely right with everything that she said. And, you know, her career basically suffered based on things that he implemented. And she said something real powerful that I never thought about. And it took me back to the Monique situation, where she said, you know, when you put that word difficult on a black woman in this industry, that's the kiss of death.
That was so
and when she said, I was like, damn, like it took me immediately back to the Monique situation, where she's sitting there arguing with Steve Harvey, and he's like, oh, it's the money game. And she's like, okay, what about the integrity game? Like, so factual. Yeah, so like, what were your guys' I guess takeaways from, you know, viewing that? Let's start with you.
I mean, I feel like I didn't get the chance because when I was watching it, I had to get going, so I had to cut it short. But I got to watch most of it with them one-on-one. Okay. And I found it to be completely profound that this is their first time coming face to face after about 20-some years.
And then 30 years.
30 years, right, damn near. And it's like, on top of that, I felt like it was important to show not only our community but just the human experience of how deep miscommunications can go. Right. He was young. To hear about how he's 21, that boy just came up on like that. He just came up on fame. So he already has not only a heightened sense of self, which he earned because of what his status was at the time. However,
Right.
he's still a 21-year-old boy, man. So whatever the case may be, he still has a lot to learn. So he did
Right.
not have the perception or the skill set to think about other people's predicament and think about what he was doing by acting in this way and acting entitled, or putting them on the back burner or limiting different things. Like, I definitely felt for what she said. I felt it to be very powerful and strong, just even just her expressing how bad it affected her.
Right.
For me,
down to her kids.
For me, I never truly researched why she got replaced or what happened with that.
Well, it was always rumored. No one knew the exact
Right.
reason. It was either you believed her or you believed
him,
the
right.
It was
And for
really
me,
that
I
simple.
never took the time to even look at either side. I just knew that this is what it was. There clearly was something behind the scenes because she's not here.
Right. They just replaced her and act like we weren't supposed to notice
exactly.
that.
That we gonna get to that another time because they really tried to pass off this bright ass woman. No disrespect, but a bright ass woman, as opposed to the complete opposite end of the spectrum that was previously there. Like, that's so ass backwards. But whatever the case may be, I feel like it was great that they had it. I'm happy they had it. I feel like it was much needed clarity, much needed closure. I feel like they both needed that. I feel like after having such a history that is not only enriching for their community but has impacted so many people in and out of their communities' lives.
Decades later.
Whole
generations
later.
Shit, right?
And it's like, it's still a hit to this day. The fact that they finally reconcile, I think, is really important, just to once again show the Black community we don't always have to hold grudges, because that's a thing in our community. Not letting shit go. Forgiveness is hard to come across when it comes to a lot of different situations for us.
Right.
And it's hard to let go of certain things. I'm happy that they publicly reconciled, just to set an example of how we can carry ourselves when it comes to differences and beefs, arguments, tensions, relationships. Like, it doesn't have to be all bad. It can eventually, it shouldn't be that long, but that's their experience, that's their situation, that's what it is. And we're still learning in our community that our feelings are valid, that we can move like everybody else. We don't have to be in our own bubble of being suppressed and closed off to emotions and experiencing certain things. We're just like white people, we're just like every other race, to where we're entitled to having our feelings validated when we're grieving, when we're upset, when we're offended, and anything above, because that's often overlooked. It's always if we catch an attitude, if we just disagree with something, we're the angry Black woman, angry Black man. If we disagree with something, then we're the rebel. We can't even stand up for something that means something for us, whether it's a family member dead, without us being fucking anarchists damn near. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on now. I feel like it was very important. I valued it greatly. I definitely want to go back and rewatch the entire thing.
For sure. Yeah,
but it was even powerful just seeing them get emotional, needing to take a break. That's okay. Sometimes you need a moment to just gather yourself. Some things are triggers. It's okay to talk about triggers. That's how you get past them. Yeah. That's big on. I feel like it touched so subtly on various aspects of mental health that are so important and overlooked in our community.
Right. I mean, and the fact that, like, I'm sure it hurt even more. Like, her career just abruptly ended, and then this turns into one of the superstars of the planet. I'm sure that makes it even worse. Like, they always talk about karma coming back around.
Absolutely.
That's been swirled around that nigga.
And even for me, hearing her background like that, and I always go back to the scene where she fucked it up in that dance class and showed everybody else.
Classic.
And then to hear about her experiences with plays and stuff, it all clicked, came full circle. Like, that's why you the shit. You've been doing this, like, you does this. You've been in cats. You've been doing this. You're acclaimed. Like, you're doing your shit. So I can completely understand where she was coming from with even feeling disrespected, in the sense of, I like professionalism. I prefer a certain workspace. If we're gonna do a job, let's do a job. But also, let's not act like I'm just somebody who just auditioned for the first time and this is my first time having a career. I've been established in the industry, just not this particular one.
The way they replaced her was super disrespectful.
Fucking disrespectful.
And the respect that she gave him, like, you know, from my research of how rappers were viewed at that time, like when they were, you know, when the Tupacs and Ice Cubes were doing movies, it was like, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, y'all effing the game up. And the other, I don't know her exact name, but the other Aunt Viv, the light skinned one, she said when they actually asked her to do Aunt Viv in the beginning, and they said it was a show with a rapper, so she said she declined it. She said no because of that.
Because most of the people on there were they're actors. It's not like nowadays it's like, oh, I'm an actor. It's like, no, I went to school for this.
No, yeah, they went to Juilliard.
They had the whole thing.
Theater. I know this style of acting. I can do this style of acting. Right. It's like my repertoire is deep, and I've like spent time to sophisticate it. So it's like I'm coming here to do my job. And it's like, this goofy.
And I felt her. Like, you're not taking it serious. You're not being for real when I've done whole ass theater. Cats is big, my nigga. Like, you was in Cats, my nigga? Like, I was hyped. Like, what?
Like, she's like, I'm a triple. Like, I'm a legitimate triple. When that really meant, it's like, I can sing, I can act, I can dance. And it's like, I kill in every single category.
And never, ever once in my career accused of being a professional.
Right.
Yeah. Ever.
And you know she's professional.
You can still see it.
Tell. Like, you can see even how she carried herself even throughout that. It's like you don't have a
like, even when she tries to insult him, it's still like she's doing it in a very like ladylike professional manner of like she's not cussing and going all crazy, but you could tell like the energy
how
is
she
there.
speaks and stuff is eloquent, very well put together.
It's all there.
Yeah.
What I do want to say, what I like the most about it, because it's like you said, it's another example for us as a culture, which is a lot of times women can become victims to men's egos, like big time. And as men, we might not even see that happening and even realize that's what the effect is happening. So for all, you know, even though it took, 30 years to happen, it's good that we have that example to say, I didn't realize I was doing that.
Right.
And I didn't, maybe to some degree, but just to have like an extra level of like self-awareness to just, take assessment of what's going on and the people around you in the room. It's like, are you good? You good? You good? And just have that open communication.
Well, it's easy not to see it from that perspective when you're not the person that's being marginalized.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I always say, like, it's still worse for black women than black men because we're still men. You know what I mean? Because you got that dynamic of male privilege.
And I was going to say that
so,
even in Hollywood, luckily they're talking about it. They're highlighting, women not being paid as much in the industry, women not being cast as much, different things, different discrepancies that women are faced with as opposed to men and them getting more privileges. Yes, talked about more, but to hear people acknowledge that after 30 years, after 40 years, post being in the industry or whatever, they're just now coming to understand, either party, that there was that distinction, that there was that prejudice. And for men, especially now, it's like, all right, y'all got to go back and look like, oh shit, I was a part of the problem.
Right.
Like, damn, had no clue. And I'm sure that's
he can't talk the split that he taught today, and you still haven't wrote that wrong yet.
Right.
And I think that was a big reason why he did that.
To me, like, the whole thing with him and Jada aside, that was like the biggest like mark on Will Smith. It's like, whatever, like, you cool, you a positive guy, we love you, like, you're funny, like, you do a lot of great things, but it's like, what is up with
that situation?
Like, what happened there?
And you can't do no full, he's had other reunions, and he always left her out.
And it's like, y'all not, so it was like, we love OG and Viv, so it's like, what happened?
And it was wild. I had no clue, and I'm sure thousands of other people didn't either, just that was their first time reconnecting and reuniting after so long. You would have never expected. Granted, you wouldn't expect otherwise, but you would just assume otherwise because you would just assume at least that it was a decent relationship, but you would never assume that y'all ain't interacted in God knows how long. Y'all had this static for this long without clarity for this long. Whole ass careers. This nigga Will Smith did over 10 movies and some more shit. Had sequels and everything.
Add a zero behind that.
And and she's done. I mean, you know her own thing.
Before we move on to the next thing, I also gotta add that yes, Will Smith and OG Untitled or Janet, but I don't want to not blame the white man in this situation, because the white man is the reason why that dynamic was set up the way it was.
It's the puppet man.
I think that's just the industry gatekeeper.
Yeah. No, for sure. But I'm just talking about like whoever the TV execs were when she was coming to them with their grievances, instead of like creating peace and saying, you know, you're a valued member of the team or it was like,
they made
that's
her the
not
problem.
They care about their bottom line, and Will Smith was their bottom line at that time.
It's like, you not understand that? We will replace you like you're nothing.
Right, you are expendable.
We'll make a joke out of it, which they did.
They did.
They destroyed her life and made a joke out of it.
I was
and then like Will Smith is looking at it like, man, I gotta make this bread. Like I gotta be great. And he did. You know, obviously he's in a position now where it's like, you know, one, I probably have issues with this woman already. The execs are on my side. They probably, you know, buttering them up, telling them all good things about itself. Like, you're great, you're amazing, it's your show, We're just going to replace her, forget about it.
Like,
exactly. Like, we're just going to, don't worry about it. And so, you know, he got all these people in his face and all these other things. It's just like, but that's how they do it, though. They divide and conquer pretty much. Yeah. And before we know it, we beefing with each other and they making money, and it's like, all right, on to the next one.
And I remember before really understanding the dynamic of what was going on, because I was just researching back and forth. I remember kind of going at her a little bit because they were the rumors that like she was asking for more money than everybody else or something. And of course, your first instinct when you hear that is like, who you think you is?
That's
like,
entitled shit.
Because again, you are expandable out of everybody on the show. Like, you know, Carlton and Uncle Phil, like, you know, like, I don't think you could have just easily replaced them.
Yeah, they're
like,
pretty
you were an expendable person.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was thinking, like, you know, how you asking for more money or asking to be, like, the highest paid? But then she explained her side of, like, no, they offered me a trash deal. Yeah. And then, basically, I declined this. But then y'all put out she said you put out a narrative that I was fired.
Right.
And you know, he admitted to that as well.
And we gotta be careful with things like that, because it's like you could make like a joke about something like, why was having Jani's like, you know, she wasn't getting enough money, so
and then the next person and the next person,
that becomes what it is,
especially before social media, because everything was word of mouth, like literally.
There's so much nuance to it, so it's like we gotta really, especially because as Black people, we don't have as much wiggle room as like white people to be certain ways. Like the moment that we call a Black woman difficult,
that's it.
The moment that you call a Black man like aggressive or something that, that's it. Yeah, it's like, nigga,
and they do that intentionally. They know exactly what they're
like,
he's
a thug. It's like,
I'm about to say, it's all about the language. He's a thug. Like they paint the narrative.
They know what like little key trigger words to use to just essentially like write you off and marginalize. They try to do it with Dave Chappelle, like calling him crazy. Like they do it with everybody, and it's like, nah, just recognize and don't go for it.
And I can speak from experience of working in the industry and working with a bunch of different entertainment shows. Like you'll see like probably 10 different shows, 10 different channels, and it'll be the same exact producer putting the same exact core of people on all of those shows. Mm-hmm. So that's what they mean when they say blackballed, and people be thinking they just making it up. Like, well, yeah, that's why they're blackballed, because all it takes is one piss off the wrong person, and not only those 10 shows, but they might, you know, be like the godfather of this other person that got another 20 shows. You know what I mean? And
we can go deep into it.
Right. Oh yeah.
We can go deep into it. We're gonna keep it cheap right there. But
and another crazy fun fact that I didn't know was that the light skinned Viv, she said she never met Janet before.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
I thought that was
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Like, because y'all been pinned together.
I mean, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, as Janet, I would have absolutely no interest seeing the person who replaced me after they just fucked me over, blackball me, ruin my name,
even though she was an innocent one.
But all this shit, still, it's like I have no interest. Whether you have nothing to do with it, but I have absolutely no interest. No,
right, I'm going
no
out of my
smoke
way.
towards you.
Yeah.
But I have no interest to get to know you, to meet you, to want to see you. I don't want to see you replace me. Y'all got me fucked up. Y'all have my kids fucked up. Y'all got my family fucked up.
Right.
And I'm good. Like, have fun with that.
We do have to do a better job of protecting each other. Because I can easily see how, like, because Janet got ostracized and then the new one, Viv, was coming in, she's like, I don't want to associate myself with a woman that's considered difficult or anything.
That
it's like
too.
there's no upside in it for me to
It's a
build
domino
that
effect
relationship.
at that point.
Right. So we do have to do a better job of like. So shout out DC Fly for not taking that job.
Oh yeah,
At Wildin'
Wildin'
Out, because
Out,
we need
yeah.
more. We need more of that, which is like, you know, live on Stand Strong. It's like, nigga, we're the talent. Y'all
Right.
need us. Stop fucking with
That
us.
just be greed though, because he's probably as hot as he's ever been. This nigga's on literally everything. He's making millions already, so that would just be straight greed for you to, you know, and with the price of loyalty on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but sometimes like they just be greedy as hell.
Yeah.
It's like you already making it.
I seen somebody make a meme or like a joke, it was like Kevin Hart would have took that job.
And he would have, like.
God. Damn.
Nobody throw elbows or nothing, man. Fresh Prince or Martin.
Oh shit, man.
Why you looking at that? Because you know we've been having this conversation, bro.
Shoot, man. It depends on what day it is, but. And I grew up on both, but I enjoyed the Fresh Prince a little bit more than Martin, for sure. Fresh Prince struck a nerve with me. Also, like, what my daddy doing? What was that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because so like with Fresh Prince, I think when I was younger, like when I was actually growing up watching it, I watched both as well, but I didn't like Martin because Martin was like for grown folks.
And we discussed that, and that's what was gonna be my point where we discussed that. Fresh Prince was more family oriented, or more for kids and family. Martin was for adults.
Outside our community.
Right.
Exactly, and it was more for outside of our community. It had more integration, diversity in some sense, even as far as jokes and stuff.
More comfortability.
Exactly. Martin was straight black. Black humor, black insiders, only stuff black people understand.
Right.
Black characters.
So for that reason, Fresh Prince was like the greatest spit ever. Yeah. But once I could hit like 16, 17, and start going back to those Martin episodes, I'm like, hold up.
Once you get older, it's a different
I can relate to that.
Yeah, that's real.
And you know, sadly, the more I got into Martin and the more I started loving Martin, Fresh Prince got a little more corny to me as I got older.
I can see that.
So, like, I think Martin is like the greatest effing sitcom and ever right now. Fresh Prince, I got top 5, but I'm sorry, I cannot, because Martin has like hit on so many levels in my adult life, like even simple stuff like going to the DMV, like he made a full episode.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna say I haven't watched it in a while, but
all the Martin episodes.
Exactly, and I know a good amount, but it's like, yeah, it wasn't until I got older, having older sisters, all of us watching it, that helped and stuff. So I was younger, but still older, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but like 12, 13, 14, you know, that age, up to 16 or so. But I haven't sat there and really watched consecutive episodes of Martin in years. And I need to, because I would be able to probably relate a lot better to more adult shit. But yeah, Fresh Prince is definitely a fave for me. Just because of the familiarity, the relevance,
and the frequency too.
But they all fit. I mean, they both fit. You know, they were both great shows. They both have their time period of when they're the best, if that makes sense.
Right.
They're best for different points in people's lives.
So Turkey Day is tomorrow, aka Thanksgiving. So I just kind of want to, you know, dig deep into y'all for a minute. Like, did y'all celebrate it when y'all were growing up, and do y'all celebrate it now?
I definitely celebrated growing up for sure, and I guess technically I still do celebrate it, just more so out of like a familial tradition rather than
the food.
Yes.
This nigga trying to find big words.
I'm trying to. Yeah, no, factual. That's exactly what it is. It's like we chilling, we got good food, we got my family here. That's what it is. You feel me? I can't get over the fact that it's essentially based off of like the genocide of the indigenous Americans to this part of the continent, but I don't know. It's like I'm getting a day off anyway. My family gonna be cooking anyway. They gonna be getting together. Like, well, I'm gonna sit at home, like
hungry
reading
for
books.
no reason.
Yeah, man. Like, what am I
I'm
doing?
speaking more so like on y'all, whatever y'all religious or lack of religious beliefs or just y'all feelings on the essence of what Thanksgiving is supposed to be. Because sometimes you get the grumpy, older people on Facebook that are like, "Oh, y'all celebrating this spirit?"
The whole tips for sure.
So I mean, I don't know much about your religion when it comes to Thanksgiving. Like, where do y'all stand on that?
Yeah, okay. So I'm in the Nation of Islam, and we're pretty anti all white.
Any holiday, really?
Yeah, so all holidays, right?
Or whatever. But at the same time, most people in the Nation of Islam is like we all come from black families or Christian families or whatever. So it's like we celebrate pretty much every holiday. You feel me? It's like I did have that point in my like development where I like was around my family. I'm like, this holiday is the bloodshed and this is not Jesus' birthday. But after a while, it's like, this is positive energy. Like, we're all here enjoying each other. This is my family. I love y'all. We eating good food.
Right. And
that's just what it is. And like, for this Thanksgiving, because like the pandemic and everything, I'm seeing a rise. I mean, it's probably been happening, but I feel like there's a larger rise in like a Friendsgiving as well, which is like an interesting like shift in dynamics for me specifically, because as my elders are getting older, they have like less energy to do things, and I'm looking around like,
it's our turn, man.
Yeah, it's like, who's gonna do it now? Like, oh shit, I'm gonna do it now. Like, I'm doing it now, and that's how it starts. Like, it was like at some point it was like, when they whatever age they was at, it was like, look, I guess we got to do it now. And so that's what it is, and it's just an interesting thing to see how it goes. But I love Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay.
Me, personally, we used to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to my sister's families, me and my mom's two other daughters. My sisters, we have different dads, so I used to go to their family's side. Still family, nothing different. And
would you switch off?
No, because I mean technically that's their family, but we were all, even post their divorce and stuff, we were all still family. Like there was no smoke, no nothing, so everything was fine. So sometimes I go over there and it'll be great. We'd have games. The guys would be watching football game. We play family games. Have a whole ball because we all hot messes. So it's gonna be, and we competitive. So it's gonna be a thing. Sure. Good ass food. Can't deny the food. I miss going over there. But as of like the last couple of years, it's been more so my family or like my aunt's house, and her husband will cook a good spread. It's not the same as the other one, but I mean it was cool. Last year, I think we went to her house. It was nice, it was something. Just about 5-6 people, our families, but that was about it this year. Ain't nobody doing nothing. We got a honey baked ham that we already dug into because we're not waiting for the day of.
So you don't have like a problem with the holiday and
absolutely not. No, I mean I understand the negativity behind its origins, but I feel like it all comes down to why, like Dorian was saying, like why you celebrate it and what new meaning you give to it. Because we can't change where the tradition's rooted from. We can't. We can change how we celebrate it, how we acknowledge it, what we think about it, and how we utilize that time off or whatever. I definitely can get behind the whole family thing. I'm not hella big on being around family all the time.
Right.
And we don't have big family parties for Thanksgiving, but I'll probably be home. I'll probably cook some mac and cheese. We're going to be chilling. Get a couple things from here and there, but ultimately, like, in my household, we don't make a big fuss out of it at all. Like, we're not necessarily super religious. I'm the least religious person. Everybody else is Christian to an within reason. But we're not big on it. Like, it's not something we got to stop the track, set the table. It's like, no, we finna be in our rooms, minding our business like every other day, just with some honey baked ham in the mix.
Yeah, I'm kind of with y'all. I feel like any, especially for black people, because of how much, negativity we deal with throughout the year and how distant a lot of our families are. If there's a holiday that can bring us all together, the fellowship for whatever reason, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Even like with the 4th of July, like, even though I hate celebrating that at all, I really don't, but it's like, it's a day off, and again, it's a day that, brings us together. If there was a way where we can kind of switch that over to Juneteenth, I'd be all for that.
We tried. We're trying to ease into it.
We trying.
Now we got the awareness this year where it was like, guys, we gotta start celebrating Juneteenth.
Right.
Like, guys, we should have been celebrating Juneteenth.
It's a surprise.
But
I loved it because it was like all the
better.
protests was going on and they was talking about Juneteenth, and I looked on my IG and I literally had a memory from the year before explaining that was like the true Independence Day for us and how we need to celebrate going forward. I was like, man, see, I tried to tell y'all. I mean, what's y'all favorite? What's y'all Thanksgiving dish, man? What has to be on y'all plate?
It gotta be macaroni and cheese.
Thank you, mac and
for
cheese.
sure. That's like a
but cooked a certain type of way.
It gotta be done right.
That's why I have to cook mine. Like, I need as much as possible.
It's macaroni and cheese and yams, but like I've this year I've experienced something called carrot
fluff. I seen some today saying yams was the worst.
Carrot fluff.
Carrot fluff, and it's like yam. It's like it gives you the same like experience as yams, but it's a little healthier for you.
Sure. Okay. I mean, I'm not closed off to it. Hearing it doesn't sound appealing.
It's like it's sweet like yams, and it pairs with the macaroni and cheese just as good. Like I'm telling you,
and that's fair.
They go good.
I can't knock it.
I
mean, because when you said it, it's like, a carrot souffle.
Something like that, but like the texture and the consistency and everything. I'm telling you, it's good. It's good.
Okay, when you cook it, bring some here so we can try some.
Y'all had fried turkey before?
Yeah, fried turkey.
Not yet. I want to try it. So bad.
I've been making fried turkey like the last 15 years. It's the first year I'm not.
Just as long as nobody eating chicken.
First year I get to try it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the first year I'm not actually. But yeah, I'll just be surprised on how many people have never had it. I'm guessing because we in Cali, maybe, because I think it's like a Southern tradition, and my family's from the South. So
I've seen it get fried. It seems like a very daunting process for such a big animal. It just seems a bit much.
Well worth it though.
Oh, I believe it. But see, if I was to cook a turkey, I would spatchcock it, which is, if y'all don't know, break the backbone to where it's flat.
Mm-hmm.
You can get more into the crevices. I feel like you could season it better. I feel like if you're doing it in the oven, it'll be better. But here I am speaking on the bird I haven't cooked, so that's just pipe dreams for the future.
So we're all in agreement that we're, I guess, pro Turkey Day for our own particular reasons, not because.
Well, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Because you didn't say.
I'm with y'all. If it ain't mac and cheese, like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a must.
That we won't eat until like whoever bringing the mac and cheese is like we'll wait until they bring the mac and cheese to eat. Yeah. It's like, where's it at?
Well, my family, we always waited anyway. Don't eat till like 9-10 o'clock.
Damn.
That's a bit.
Yeah, I was hot when I found out that families actually eat at normal, like, when I heard people saying 2-3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I'd be like, damn, we still taking stuff out the oven and people still showing up. People trying to get there, and then because we had the fried turkeys, different people trying to look. My brother laughing because he know what I'm talking about.
Like, eating at 9, that's super late.
Yeah, that's hella late.
Yeah, like if we eat at like 7 o'clock, like we shot.
Because the itis hit by like 9. Like the itis from the turkey and the whole 3 plates.
By 9, I'll be like contemplating should I go home.
Right, like you ready to pass the fuck out. Like
I guess we got so many different people coming from all over, bringing their different dishes, and they got to put it all together. It's like, I don't know. We didn't got so used to it. We don't even get mad no more. Right? Have y'all heard Meg's album yet?
Nope.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I figured.
Meg can't hear.
And the reason you probably missed it, it actually, she tried to slide it in. It came out the same night as the Gucci Jeezy versus. Literally,
that's funny it did, because see, that's where my focus was, the album. Yes.
Right, yeah, right. And she didn't watch it, and she heard it.
And I didn't watch the verses, like, the verses, they had verses, like, news to me.
I mean, so you didn't hear about Shots Fired then?
I heard it, and as soon as I heard the beat, I couldn't listen to it. I just couldn't listen to it. Okay,
talk to me.
Who shot you? Probably don't have the same.
Let me tell you, man. This is exactly why I can't respect it from a hip hop perspective, because Who Shot You is a Biggie beat, and it's not necessarily a diss against Tupac. But when Tupac got shot the first time, he was going off on Biggie, like, you know who shot me, da 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 da. And it's like, he dropped Hit 'Em Up, Biggie had Who Shot You, and it's like, oh, it's not an official diss, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like, it's like an insinuation of like, nigga, like, yeah, who shot you? Who shot you? Like, you know, just like, and for Tupac, I know that was getting to him because he's an emotional nigga.
Well, that was what triggered him. He was like,
yeah.
Nigga, you made a song called Who Shot You, and then you gonna try to say, you made it before I got shot,
exactly.
But you released it after I got
exactly.
shot.
So like that's kind of like a good like hip hop lore type thing, and like that's a classic beat. And so for her to try to diss Tory Lanez on it, and it's like, you the one that got shot. It don't make no sense.
No, I feel that. Okay, that's fair. Without that insight. Over my head. I didn't notice. Did you know that was a sample? I didn't notice the sample. No.
Then also, she not like that. She don't do well over like boom bap beats. It's like you know you be on like triple time rapping fast, talking your shit. Right. And you over here.
It was a different flow for her. I will say it was like, definitely a completely different flow. You trying
to rap? It's like
it was definitely trying to fit into.
So you don't think she can rap? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm upset because I saw like a meme today. I know it came from a troll.
Bro,
but I saw a meme today that said Megan The Stallion can rap, basically out rap Kendrick and J. Cole.
That's a lot.
That's a clear cut.
Yeah,
no Megan fan would say
that. I mean, I'm a Megan fan. That's a bold faced lie. Like in one world.
But Megan The Stallion, she can rap. Absolutely. Without question, she can.
I thought it was decent, bro. It ain't like, you know.
She kind of remind me of, I don't know if you know Sada Baby, but she kind of remind me of like that type of music where it's just like, yeah, you just like be talking your shit. Yeah. Like, you be talking your shit, and I like that. So she can rap, but like, you know, there's different types of rap.
But you didn't respect the track itself.
I didn't respect the track
because of its sample.
Yeah, because
it was contradictory to what the sample represented.
Exactly.
And I can respect that. Yeah. I understand that.
And she did one of them like, you know, I was on the Savage type beats or, you know, something else that's like more.
So you didn't even hear her out just because of the beat alone?
No, I didn't hear the album because I didn't know she dropped the album.
No, I'm talking about that song though.
Oh, I tried to listen to it, but then I listened to the way she was rapping.
Well, then
and it's
you
like,
need to read the
So you didn't listen, bro. You listened, but you didn't listen.
I could just tell off the rip, like because I'm a fan of music first, so it's like if I'm listening to like the first 30 seconds and I'm not like engaged yet, it's like there's nothing here for me unless you like switch it up or something. I don't think she did that.
What was your takeaway from the song?
I mean, I thought it was great. I felt like she did her shit as far as just going at it. It did cause some speculations with previous details that were out where she mentioned the pellet gun thing and him having a baby gun and it being pellets and hitting both her feet and shit. Like, so wait, so what was it? What did you really like? How serious was those injuries? Because then that kind of calls back to what she was saying before about her injuries and stuff. Then it calls back to what Tori was saying about her injuries and stuff. Right. And of course, naturally, you don't want to believe a fuck ass nigga like that, but ultimately, when you drop certain lines that that kind of contradict what you were saying, I just was a little confused. Being a fan and watching that story, it's like, wait, you making this pellet, and I understand what you're saying as far as like you a little nigga, you not gonna affect me for real.
Right.
But you talking about the weapon that put you in the hospital? Also, like, wait, did it or did it not hurt you?
It's like, like
I thought it was a little late too.
Like
that was one
thing.
thing.
She dropped it like a week or
something
that's
like how I felt too.
And then also, like, I feel like her dropping the disc was a backtrack because she took that incident and then created the narrative of like black women not being protected. She tied it to Breonna
She
Taylor.
already leveled above that.
She mentioned Breonna in the song.
Yeah, she made it so
too.
much bigger. So for her to then go back and make a song, it's like, nah, you're past that. Like, we past,
I feel like that's
trying to
fair.
talk to Tory now. It's like, nah, like, keep on going, like, move
Well,
past
to be
it.
fair, I'm pretty sure that song was a response to when he did that
His
live.
mixtape.
No,
Okay.
he did that live and told his side because remember he didn't do a live at first. He just did the tape, and then he ended up doing a live. And she made a tweet right after that where she was like, "This nigga's genuinely crazy." Like, as far as the song go, I think it really messed me up because I've been defending Meg like real hard since the start of it. I'm not saying I'm backing up from defending Meg at this moment, but it just made it to me to where I'm like, this situation is hella weird. Like, I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
and that's where I was
Yeah.
like I said, that's just a small comment from that little piece that made me question certain things about the details. But ultimately, it's like
Even her dissing her friend on the song.
yeah,
I'm
that
like,
too.
what
Like
the
wait,
hell?
So it's like,
so
what's
your
the
friend
real-
was
so
in
he
on
was-
it. So your friend was like hopping up. Like what really happened? It just
it's
caused
like, yo.
a lot more confusion than it did
Right.
answer questions.
Exactly.
Right.
And I feel like that's where the disconnect was for the song. That would probably be my biggest critique of it. As far as how she was getting off, the manner of which she was getting at this nigga. It was a diss track for
It was
show.
cool song.
It was cool. I liked it. Like I feel like
It's the only song I listen to. So.
I feel like it was great, and it's probably the only song that would appeal to a male.
Right.
To a
whole album, one song, no song.
Cause think about it. And I think about that too. Even songs with niggas and stuff like, cause Drake's like, I ain't hear the album. Like, oh, hater. Like you ain't gotta be a hater like that. Like, damn. But I feel it doesn't appeal to men.
Right.
And then there's some songs where it's like, yeah, sure.
There might be some questions if niggas get in your car and you banging a Meg The Stallion album, like.
And that's one of those things. And then I thought about today, which is a little sidebar. It's like even with male rap, like, but we can listen to males talk about the same explicit sexual stuff happening to females. But niggas don't like hearing about females talking about it. But females don't mind hearing about males. And I'm thinking about me as a female, like, it's that shit. Like, I like that shit. Like, I'm trying to hear that.
We like it, but it's
I
like if you repeat some of the lyrics that a woman is singing.
Exactly.
You know
and
what
that's
I mean?
you can't sing along to it. I feel like that's a big disconnect
in a
too.
certain way, because I feel like most women, they like a confident man that's gonna be like, nigga, I'm that nigga, whoopty whoopty whoop.
I mean, but even look at the baby. Like, he's very aggressive.
But like a woman, like, I like a confident woman, but I don't like a woman that's like, I'm that bitch, look at me, da 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 da. Like in real life, I'm just saying, like, I like a confident woman, but not one that's gonna be like, nigga, I'm that bitch every time we turn around. It's like, oh, I get it. Sure.
I mean, cause I could repeat Kim's whole verse on "Crush on You," but you know, of course, I gotta switch some lyrics up. You know what I mean? If you sitting there listening to a whole Megan album, you be doing that all damn day.
Right.
Like, so just I think that's personally the reason why niggas decide not to.
No, and I completely understand because you
that's why
can't see a
female
nigga bumping
rappers-
body and being like, oh yeah, body yada yada. Like,
Right,
nah,
exactly.
nigga,
Like,
what?
if I hear a nigga about body,
Excuse me?
That's why, like when
Right.
that's why, like when Nicki was like trying to go hard, like oh y'all wouldn't play this song like that, but you'll play like Truffle Butter with Drake and Wayne on it. It's like because the
different.
nigga is
It
not
changes
gonna want to
up,
be,
like-
you know what I'm saying, rapping that type of stuff.
Yeah,
like
like I love Missy Elliott, but there's certain songs
You
I just can't
can't-
sing.
Right.
Like
You
it's like
can't say
she made
certain
that for
lyrics
women.
and certain things.
which
like-
explains why somebody like a Nicki would probably has like the biggest gay fan base
Right.
of anybody, because that's something that like gay niggas they would be more.
But
into
also,
that.
I feel like it was a time period thing for Nicki too, when gay niggas is rising in the popularity in the sense of being accepted.
That's a good
On
point.
top of the Barbie,
Yeah, that's a
on
good
top
point.
of her being accepting of the
That's
gay
why she got that
rise.
damn cult fan base.
I feel like it makes a difference. I feel like it made a difference for sure.
Man, they are cutthroat, bro.
I feel like they made a difference for sure. Like her fan base is probably one of the few that's always referenced in being vicious for no good goddamn reason. Like,
right. What's some of y'all like probably like your top 3, top 5 like diss songs y'all could think of all time?
Hit 'em up. That's number one. Ether is number 2. This one not a lot of people know about, but it's a song called "My Bitch" by The Game.
I heard that. Jay-Z, Suge Knight, and
Boy,
somebody else.
50 Cent.
50,
Yeah, that diss right there. I don't
That's
know
an
why.
underground diss, bro.
That's an
Damn, you know
underground,
about that
man.
one?
I don't know why nobody
Give me
talks
some
about
on.
that. I don't know why nobody talks about that. That diss right there, I have no idea why that diss isn't, because that's like on some diss.
Because that nigga had 100 diss songs at that
He
time.
did, but that
Niggas
was the
started hearing
one.
this
That
diss.
was the one. Like, that was the one.
Nah, from Game?
I mean, he had a bunch,
on, bro. He got
but like
classic
on some disrespect / being like that shit was creative and it's like a good song.
Right.
And then lastly, I gotta add back to back.
That is a watered down.
But bro, back to back. Like when that shit came out, I remember.
I think the impact of Back to Back was bigger
I feel like
than
it
the
was the
actual
hype
song.
of
Though.
it, yeah, behind it.
Like I don't even think that's Drake's best diss song. I thought Duppy was better than that shit.
Yeah, Duppy
From the lyrical perspective and factual perspective, and actually going at that particular.
But
nigga.
the reason why I like Back to Back so much is because like at the time Drake, I mean he probably never be able to get away from it 100%, but he's like the soft, emotional, light skinned nigga. Mm-hmm. And then for Meek Mills, he was known like, oh, Meek Mill's an actual street battle rap, Philly battle rap nigga, which means something. You feel me? And so for that to happen, it's like, all right, why is this emotional light skinned nigga?
So we was surprised
Getting off on you so much, and you not doing nothing. I was on the internet looking for Meek Mill's response.
Yeah, because Back to Back was a diss. Because this nigga didn't respond to the first diss. So I thought that was crazy. But nah, bro, you talking about content.
Back to back, man. Is that a world tour or your girls tour? Trigger fingers turn. You're getting bodied by a singer, nigga. I'm not the singer. I'm not the type of nigga that's targeted. And shout out to the boss bitches like the niggas.
Bro,
nah, he got off on
his
head.
You got Hit 'Em Up. You got I don't know if I have Dre Day top 5, but I would say Dre Day.
Ooh, no Vaseline. What the fuck am I talking about?
No Vaseline.
Yeah.
Calling out names.
Yeah.
Alright, come on, bro. Like this.
I got you, but like, yeah, okay. So it's Hit 'Em Up. I want to
Takeover.
I can't put Ethan and Takeover on the same list.
What?
Yeah, it just don't feel right. Like,
well, clearly you chose Ether over Takeover.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Hit 'Em Up, then No Vaseline, then it's Ether, then it's My Bitch, and then it's back to back. Just
bro, I got Ether over all that shit, bro.
Ether, whew.
That nigga was hella disrespectful on
that was
a whole nother kind of level. And I think the people's lack of knowledge on Jay-Z's vulnerability in situations is why people don't really understand how like vile that was.
I feel like what made Ether so dope is because Jay-Z's image is like, I'm the coolest nigga that you've ever seen.
Like, right. On the vibe.
And Ether opened him up.
And Ether was like, nigga, no, you're not. Fucking nerd,
right.
Nigga, you're a nerd.
Right.
And I know you're a nerd because my baby mama told me you're a nerd, nigga. Like, stop it, you ugly nigga.
And then the Sean Carter to Jay-Z, damn you on Jazz Dick. Like, how many people know Jazzo? Like, they wouldn't even know that that's literally where Jay got his whole spit from.
Yeah, no, he said what he said. He said, what the hell he said? He said, you seem to only be concerned with dissing women. Was you abused as a child? Scared to smile? They called you ugly? Like, what? Like, what is he, like, what?
Damn.
I thought even the hood where he hit him with the I will not lose.
I will not lose. He was just talking. He got at that nigga's soul, bro. That shit was crazy. That's
number one, bro. I won't argue much if you say no Vaseline, but okay. So Hit 'Em Up, right? This is where podcast stuff. The other niggas he put on, like that's my only issue with that.
Yeah,
like I can't.
He always did that though.
Yeah, annoyingly.
Like, bro, cause like Hail Mary is a classic. But you put the other nigga on, and
kind of.
It take away from the energy. But Jay-Z got on the radio and was like, man, he was kind of harsh while he was saying this.
And then he came with that terrible, super ugly rebuttal because he just was so embarrassed.
And he even went back. He's like, my mom made me apologize. His mom made him apologize. which is crazy,
bro. That was a definite L, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those situations where people are saying like Nas won the battle, Jay-Z won the war.
Yeah, Jay-Z
because he ended up signing Nas at some point.
Regardless, Jay-Z is still like. If anybody asks me,
bro, you took that L, bro. Just take your L.
I'm gonna say Jay-Z, but like he took loss. But part of I guess what makes Jay-Z is he took that hell of a L and still had a successful career.
Right, and admitted to the L when he was dissing Jim Jones.
Yeah, admitted to that. He was
like, Joneses can't keep up. Maybe my nigga Nas, but I got stronger at the ether.
Right. So it's like, grow. Yeah, okay.
Did you say your 5? Did you say yours?
I think ether is number 1. No Vaseline number 2. I would probably have damn. I know calling out names, but I know I'm forgetting something right now. Oh, Hit 'Em Up. Yeah, probably Takeover.
That story of Addy.
Oh, you know what? That's what I'm forgetting. Not Takeover. Second round KO.
I love that shit.
Yeah, that was even though he was unfairly treated.
He was unfairly treated.
Yeah, that was a classic example of like the bigger star. Yeah. Just winning based on who they were and not what they do. Yeah. But yeah,
second round knockout. That's a beautiful loss. That's a beautiful.
Yeah, I got that in there. I mean, I think Snoop, bro, like all the Jada's, right? So that's basically like his foot. Yeah, back to back is probably 10, but again, based more so on the impact. Than,
it's the impact.
Yeah,
it's because and then they
he had all the memes on the screen.
I mean, he has some.
But like the whole first verse, he didn't say nothing about me though.
And that's fair. But he has to lead up. He already had a whole nother disc before that.
Like,
he could have started out a little.
That was Charged Up was cool.
Charged Up was cool.
It's like it was everywhere, and I know like when you dissing a nigga.
You made it a party song.
It's a part like you can't go to the club. Like it's like I gotta turn this summer in.
Like, go out.
And I think the Dagger was when that shit got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah,
like, I was like, damn. I feel like the industry was just trying to end Meek at that point. I thought they was just trying to get that nigga out of there. Like you nominated that for a Grammy, bro. Like,
they was definitely trying to get bro out. Like it was a good song, but the powers that be was definitely on Drake's side.
Yeah, Grammys. That's a bit of a stretch.
We gotta give an honorable shout out to Wangsta too, cause all like 50 Cent.
Oh yeah, I'm forgetting about 300 bars. That's another one.
300 bars.
Sticking this the nigga for what 15 minutes?
He did all the G in there for like 15 minutes, which was ridiculous.
He did a whole mixtape, but that was like the top of it.
And then when Game did Meek Mills. So I forgot what the name of it is.
Oh, that was he did some twice. I think the first one was 92 bars.
Nah, not that one. The other one where he rapped over that.
You talking about
Young. That's a cold diss, right?
But man, I thought that was hella underrated for Meek though, because his diss on that was hard too.
I gotta go back and listen to it.
Where he was like, Thug checked you. No, he was like, Fifth dropped you, Thug sunned you, Mac warned you, strippers turn rappers, look what we come to.
Okay,
faggot, my lady ain't never F you. Like, he went off on that nigga, but everybody was so busy still making him a punching bag from back to back that I don't think people really cared to hear him like that.
Was able to turn
he bounced back. He had to leave Nicki first, but
he had to admit, bro, I got a drug problem. That's why I was tripping. It's like, okay.
He was saying the perks and shit.
Alright, for me, I say some of them which sucks because like I'm drawing a blank with diss songs that I'm hella familiar with. I like Kill Shot by Eminem, but a lot of Eminem's stuff is littered. Littered with, disses all throughout most of his music. So Eminem was a great disser. Then I liked Hobson when he was big. Illminder Hobson. I can't remember which one was my favorite. I want to say it was 5. And he got on niggas. And Tyler Creator was my favorite, and I was hella conflicted because I'm like, he did Tyler. He did like quite a few niggas.
Now that I think about it, it kind of sounds like them niggas.
Yeah, and people said
have a very similar sound.
He did quite a few people in the industry that were popular based on their lifestyle, what they were rapping about, how they were faking the funk, whatever the case may be. Me being a fan of Tyler, I was like, man, fuck what this nigga said, but fuck this nigga was good. Like he said a whole bunch of real life shit. He was getting on like society shit. Like I
heard a few of them. I didn't hear all of them, but I did.
I don't think I heard all of them because I fell off at some point. But I want to say like 4 or 5. Or 4 through 6. I want to say it was 5 though. Like one of them was specifically like my absolute
Which one was
favorite.
the video? It was like a blue.
And he was with
or something.
Yeah, I want to say. I think so.
Okay.
And he was there was like that pregnant girl in there.
Yeah.
I want to say that's the
one.
And I was like, damn, he didn't ever have to go off like that. I want to say I can't remember the name of it. And correct me if I'm wrong because it was a lot of people on it. I want to say it was either dissing J Rock or feature J Rock, but it had Big Sean on it. What was the Control?
Oh yeah,
okay.
That was good. Yeah, that one was good. Like
I don't classify that as a diss, but I get it.
That's fair, but there was shots taken.
There
was a lot of shots taken.
I'll say it's a diss. It got everybody in their up and feelings over that little line. Because when I heard it, I'm like, "That's what y'all went crazy over." Like,
yeah.
So
I appreciate
if he got a scan like that, hey.
I appreciate the cypher aspect of it. I like songs like that, like The Morning by Raekwon and them, Common and Kanye West. That's my shit. But we're not even on there. Anyways, that's not a diss. But also the combo of Charged Up back to back. Obviously, like I'm a Drake fan. He did his shit on that, and he had some quotables that were definitely worth it. I feel like there was another one that y'all said that I agree with. Not just Hit 'Em Up. And definitely agree with him.
I was like, you taking a long time
adding
to say
extra niggas. He was definitely throwing extra niggas in there, or he had that tendency to do so, which didn't always serve him. However,
I mean, Hit 'Em Up, where niggas, a lot of people think it's still the greatest diss song of all time. So, I mean, he must have really went hard. You know what I mean?
I got a bad take. Take a honorable mention too, because I bumped that a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not mentioning quite a few other ones that I know from other artists that may not be necessarily the circles y'all listen to that I can't think of because I hella didn't research that beforehand. So I was ready to talk about the diss that came up most recently. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean the game when he mentioned, I was like a real he brought a memory back when he said that because I literally thought I was the only person that heard that song.
Yeah, no, it's like you gonna always be my bitch.
Yeah.
It's like I don't see how they didn't respond to that.
Well, Jay was probably trying to sun him at the time. Like, you're not even worth a response. Like, 50 was getting dissed by him every other week anyway, so it's like, how much?
I was so, like, when I first heard it, I was so sure that thing was about to be like that.
How many times did 50 even respond to him? Just, that one, what is it? I'm not rich and still lying.
Yeah, that's probably
like the only one I remember him, like, on a song dissing him back. Alright, so LaMelo Ball was drafted as the number 3 pick in the NBA draft this past week. Clap it up.
Yeah.
Clap it up. I'm sure everybody on the planet
don't
knows
look at
about
me. I'll slap you. I'll go say something real quick. First of all, don't look at me. This is y'all conversation. I'm sitting back, relax, drink some water. Might take a bathroom break.
So we all know his father's Lavar Ball, and the media treatment that he's received these past 2-3 years now.
Yeah, he's still banned from ESPN.
Well, he was never actually banned, but they had to make a statement like we have no plans to have him back at this time. So they were real particular because he really didn't say anything that warranted a ban, but it's just the demonization that he's received, period.
Yeah.
From that, just from him being so outspoken. I'm sure you're probably more familiar with his antics over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think he put himself in that space so it was warranted, or do you think the fact that all 3 of his kids are in the NBA is like a slap in the face to all of them? Like, I did that.
That's what it is. They say you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. So it's like, what is the outcome? He got 3 intelligent, very athletic, talented sons that all followed their dreams, went to the NBA.
Right.
You feel me? And that's not something that we could just easily step over. You got all 3 of your sons, not all 3, but they all doing their thing. And
one of them's in the G League.
Yeah.
He's not on the actual team yet, but he's still, just to be in that world alone, that's not easy.
Him going to the NBA is a legitimate possibility. It's a legit possibility.
Right.
So for a black father to do that for his sons and have like set it up, it's like,
right.
You know, we can't take nothing.
How can you have such an issue with his method?
Yeah, I think they just got a problem with seeing like a confident black man, you know, saying like, look, I'm gonna do it my way.
Right.
I'm gonna do it my way. You know, my sons is gonna make money outside of the system that y'all have set up,
right.
And I'm not gonna be humble about it because I know what I'm doing, and I think people have an issue with that.
Right.
And so anytime that he has like any type of setback or makes a mistake or whatever, or you know, the son going to the G League, or his other son not performing as well,
good, yeah.
Whatever, they talk about, you told him, like, nigga, they're in the, like, he's in the NBA. Like, what are you talking about? And they're good without
and
being
two of them was top 3 picks in the draft.
And his youngest son, from what I understand, is like the
he might be the best one.
Yeah. So it's like, bro, like, you number 3, you know, it's like yeah, nah, he's doing something incredibly right, for sure.
I mean, I think some of it is warranted because sometimes he did say outlandish stuff.
Oh, he does. He says
so he wanted that, but I think the way he was able to, you know, have such thick skin and handle it and still be so confident, regardless of who he was talking to, regardless if it was like Stephen A. or the literal president of the United States, like. It didn't matter who, like, he stood his ground, he stood on his foundation of what he meant. You know, there's been some trials along the way with, you know, the incidents with his brand and everything, but as far as him being a father, like, I do think it was like a huge slap in the face to the media of, you know, like every time, like, again, like when I don't know if you've seen the situation with the white girl, Kristen something from, what's that damn show? The Herd. On Fox. Yeah, where that stay in your lane thing came from. That was because she was like talking like, so with him. I said some of it was warranted because of this like outlandish stuff he said. My issue was when people got personal. Mm-hmm. That white girl was one of the people that got personal, where she was talking about like, oh, the kids look like petrified of him. You know, anytime they're like standing next to him, like he's speaking for them and da 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 da. So when she went to that level, I guess he ended up going to a show to where she was there, and then she tried to like talk to him at some point. She knew like, you know, to tread softly.
Actually,
and then he ended up doing like that, like, yeah, stay in your lane. You don't need to talk to me. I ain't even looking at you. And I think to see a black man on national TV just turn his back to a white girl like that, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, you hella bold, bro. And I think that was why, you know, and then it turned into this whole other thing when Jason Fatlock got into, and Charlemagne started going back and forth. He got donkey today because he was like super trying to defend her regarding that, saying like, oh, y'all trying to turn it into race and something it's not. But it's like, because she started in the middle of their conversation, and when he was saying like, stay in your lane, or like, I'm not talking to you, she ends up going like, oh, are you threatening me? And you know what place they're trying to go to.
How
when
can
they do
a white woman even begin to critique a black man raising black children? Talking about, like, you don't know what it takes to raise a man, let alone black men in this world. Like, you have no idea what type of consistency and what level of energy you got to bring to the table to get, like, with all the distractions, everything out here. You don't understand the level of, like, authority that you got to have, of righteous authority that you got to have with your children, for them to, like, really fall in line around you and respect you and listen to you and just follow your lead.
Or just the fact that, why are you getting personal to begin with? Like, that, what did he do that warranted you guys talking about his parenting? Like, if you want to talk about him saying he can beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1, that's cool. You can call him an idiot for that. But when you start critiquing the parents, it's like, well, now you're going into a different precedent.
And that goes back to what we was talking about earlier with like the unveiled thing. It's like, it only like she's trying to do that thing that they do to us, which is just marginalize our existence. Oh, he's difficult. Oh, he's super aggressive. We don't. He's super one black man like that. And see how his parents, see how his children look around him. It's like, why are you doing that? And that white women do that shit perfectly. Exactly. They simultaneously be the antagonist and then play the victim.
And that was what Charlemagne said. He said that was some of the same energy that white girl that said that Emmett Till whistled at her. That's the same energy that was there that day. And you know, of course, as soon as she heard that, like, she wants to kind of straighten up. Like, well, I don't know how you can, you know, compare it to that. But
yeah, she just doubling down on that victim shit.
Yeah, that was how, exactly. It was the fact that you knew that this is a big black man.
Right.
And all you have to do is put that word out there of threatening. And you know what I'm saying, what space that gets put in at that point.
Right.
And she knew that, you know, like, that was her way of, you know, having everybody, like, kind of trample on him. But it kind of backfired because she started getting the energy.
Like, you can't come, like, she legit came for him, like, unfairly.
Right. Again, because I don't care, say whatever you want about Lavar, but, like, once you go into a personal space, like, you know, that's different.
All bets are off.
Right. Exactly. So if it's for him to come in there and ignore you and you trying to ask him about some shoes, you like, talk to him about the Evan shoes, like, you know what I'm saying? You've been and then not only that, you've been hating every time they turn the camera on. She's like, was talking negative about him, but now he's sitting in your face. Like, I can't stand them when people don't have the same energy that you have when, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's how these commentators are anyway with sports a lot of the time, or just period. Like, it's easy to, you know, talk that adamantly about somebody when they're not sitting in your face.
That's right.
Yeah, so kind of, I guess, give us insight on the Chappelle situation that you were speaking of.
Okay, well, Dave Chappelle just recently I saw it on his Instagram, he released like a 14-minute clip of one of his comedy shows that he did. Mm-hmm. And he was going in like detail about essentially how Comedy Central robbed him of the Chappelle show. How since the Chappelle show is now streaming on Netflix and HBO, but he's not getting no money from it. He's not getting any money. He was explaining how the contracts are set up in a way where the production studios or whoever is giving you that money saying we own your likeness and all of this for basically ever. Basically, we own it forever.
So he just gets cut a check, but he didn't get like any royalties.
Didn't get any royalties, didn't get any like anything. And you know, we could go back and forth saying like that's the business. He should have known better. But he was saying like, look, I was 28, I had no money. Yeah, I had a child on the way, and I'm in a room full of, you know, people, like full of white people. And they're all telling me like, this is a good deal, but they're all getting paid off of me. So of course they're gonna tell me to sign it, because if I don't, no one gets paid.
There's no Chappelle show.
Yeah, no one gets paid. And so he was explaining how he wants everybody to boycott watching the Chappelle show. So whatever streaming site it's on, he said Netflix agreed to take it down. He said when he first, before the Chappelle show ever came out, he tried to pitch it to HBO. And he said, and one thing I thought was profound, and once again goes back to the arrogance of these television execs or whatever, these white television execs. He said they could have just told him yes or no, but instead they decided to tell him, what do we need you for? Because they already had Chris Rock. So it's like, why do we need another joke-telling nigga?
Token black guy.
Exactly. Because it's like, so it's like, basically they told him no, but just in a very disrespectful way. But now all these years...
Are you talking about the actual Chappelle show, or are you talking about...
the Chappelle show. Like he
This is recently, or like at the beginning?
This was like back in, what, 1999 or 2000?
Oh, okay, when he was doing it to begin with.
Yeah, he was going around trying to
say, what do we need you for?
He tried to pitch it to HBO. I think he tried to pitch it to Fox.
Okay.
And Comedy Central was the one who picked it up.
Gotcha.
But HBO basically disrespected him. And now years later, they have it streaming on, they trying to, you know, do the HBO Max and streaming service. So they want to put it on their streaming site. He's like, you know, it's like, y'all niggas
what do I need you for?
Yeah, exactly.
What do I need you for?
So he's asking that everybody boycotts, because trying to go back, and we hear this story all the time with like black entertainers, they get they essentially just get fucked out of their money due to bad contracts. Sure. And it's like, you know, they probably get a couple bucks while they on top, but really it's like, you know, you're probably gonna live a long life. So you like in your 30s, that money runs out if you're not getting a residual income for, you know, DVD, streaming, anything.
Like who thought streaming would get to this point? And look at all these old black shows, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
People that's probably been far removed from the industry forever, but they got millions being made off of their shows.
Yeah, and watching the Chappelle show today, like knowing what type of man Dave Chappelle is now, going back and watching the Chappelle show, back then, it's like, yo, he was really on one. Like, he was really on one. Like, the type of sketches that he had, the things that he was saying.
He wouldn't dare get away with that.
Exactly.
He said even at that time, it was like, risky. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember he did his, the not his last stand-up, he's done a million, but it was one of his recent stand-ups where he was saying there was like a specific department to where, like, you know, if you don't hear from them, that's a good thing, because that means you're doing what you're supposed to do. But it's supposed to be like they're kind of policing what goes on on TV for like the general audience. And he was like, then you got the Dave Chappelle show, who hears from these niggas all of the time.
Right.
So even at that time, like, that was, the stuff that he was touching on, the stuff he was saying.
He openly knew what he was doing because he would speak on it. Like, even watching the Chappelle show as of earlier this week, it's like, in him, I didn't know about the boycotting thing. Teachers on shit pass now, but when they take it off Netflix is when I'll start watching it realistically. However, I can see the content he was set, because I was way too young at the time to be watching that shit. Right. So now it's my time to really get to enjoy it, and the characters and the sketches, and so out of pocket. So out of pocket. Would not fly. However, at the same time, it's like, I love...
And we understand it differently.
Exactly.
Than we were at that time.
And I love the candid aspect of, like, him openly talking about, I'm surprised we got another season. Like, I can't believe we made it to another show, y'all. Could you believe they let me have another show? Didn't think it would happen. Like, I love that honesty, because he knows what he's doing is walking on eggshells and crossing a fine line openly, always, as your brand, and still be able to successfully do it, have quite a few seasons, let it be a long-running thing, still appeal to not only your own culture and community, because he did hit on a lot of things from our culture and our community.
For sure.
But also appealing to other people from a stand-up aspect, the sketch comedy aspect, from even going back to Living Color. I'm sure even fans of things like that are still gravitating towards a more extreme version of that.
Right.
Which, definitely ahead of its game in some ways. And aged comedy for sure. Like, it's dated. Like, you have to, it couldn't fly now.
I appreciate him for doing what he's done, because he's like really opening the door and like pulling the curtain back.
Absolutely.
On like the dynamic between, he didn't like racialize it, saying we black people then white people would our racialize.
He made it as clear as possible.
Right, where it's like that's the dynamic between black people and white people, particularly Jewish people, if we're gonna be perfectly honest with you, of where we're in a situation, it's like, we need money, but we have talent. And they're like, we have money, but we have no talent.
Right.
And it's like, all right, sign this contract. We'll give you a lump sum up front. And then from that point on, we just own everything.
Right.
We just own
everything. You can't work with someone.
We control what you can do, and we control everything.
Right.
And it's like, you can't even go... Like, say our relationship doesn't work out, you can't go someplace else and do the same thing you were doing with them with us. So it's like, you're SOL. And if you even try, we'll call you difficult.
It's an extreme manipulation tactic on a high level, because they essentially suck our community dry of talent. They probably get us on, or purposely put us in situations where it's like, we'll just constantly be confused. They pimp us, basically. If you're in a sense, not even in a sense, they literally pimp us.
Call a spade a spade.
They pimp us.
Call a pimp a pimp.
They pimp us, and it's so deep to the point where it's like, I'm coming to y'all because I need the money, and like, y'all give me this contract that I don't understand. Right. It's like, okay, well, here, go talk to this lawyer, but unbeknownst to me,
they can't always.
They got
these loopholes.
Yeah, they got a relationship in there. Then it's like, you got a lawyer, but you need a business manager, and your lawyer probably recommend a business manager because, like, that's my cousin.
Right.
And it's like, before you know it, it's like, where the fuck is all my money at? And it's like, here goes the next nigga, and he's light skinned. It's like, wow.
On everything.
I mean, and gratefully he still bounced out of that.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle is my superhero for sure. He's a black.
And it's crazy to think that he turned down that $100 million to come back. But when you look at probably the stuff that he started noticing and wising up, that was probably why he was able to walk away from it.
He did that. He allowed himself freedom by not being by not being bound to
Right.
a contract into this $100 million or this big ass deal. That's amazing, sure. But for how long? It's amazing right now having that money, but first of all, how much of that money are you gonna have access to? Over how long of a period of a time?
Right.
On top of how much are you gonna have to deal with the repercussions and getting shit fucked over and shit out of luck? How many years after? Like your entire lifetime.
And
Like,
people hate when you put that term slavery on stuff like that, but that's
essentially
what it is. It's
Call
like
it what
modern
it is.
slavery.
Where did it come from?
To stream the Chappelle show without paying him anything, that's essentially him working for free, or you making money off of somebody else's work for free, which is slavery.
Right.
But I mean, being devil's advocate in a way too. It's like I just said though. It's a lot of those black shows that's coming back. They probably not getting paid from that. He's not the only one. He just probably got the biggest voice.
That's true.
You know, to where he has a relationship with Netflix to where they care enough. You just like
and he has a relationship with it. I feel like that's a big difference too. Like Netflix respect him enough because they also don't want to lose.
They don't want to lose
one of their specials
because they care about.
He's a regular special. He's a regular special that they have presented by Netflix that comes up at least once or twice.
They've given him $100 million.
Right. He's bring it back to Monique because when Monique was having her grievances, they was like, "Man, have a nice."
That wasn't
day.
even a movie.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
like, have a nice
like that's
day.
like if Flex Alexander tried to come out of nowhere, like, oh, I ain't getting paid for one-on-one. Like, can y'all take that split off? Like, man,
nigga, when was the last time you got paid for one?
Exactly. Exactly. So I ain't finna praise Netflix.
Especially because these days, I will say there is a difference. Granted, I don't watch a lot of regular TV these days. However, I definitely noticed a lot more back in 2010, 2015, 2000. That era, even before then, 2008, 2015. They would play more one-on-one, more half and half, more girlfriends, more stuff just on VH1 just throughout the day. Even when I started like OFL and stuff, like me and my sister, we watch half and half, we watch Girlfriends, we get our usual line of Martin, whatever, our black shows. And then, you know, that was a regular thing that you can expect every day. Now it's like you won't catch any old shows like that. There's some stations if you're subscribed to them.
Right.
But even then, it's like people don't know what to look for. And if they do see it, it's a rarity. Every once in a while, or not once in a while, you'll more often catch a Fresh Prince marathon.
For sure.
Sometimes a Martin marathon on BET, VH1, whatever.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're not going to catch a half and half.
Between.
You're not going to catch... what was the other one? Oh, Moesha. Things like that. Parker's like
Living Single.
These are all a different world. Like these are all very instrumental,
top
foundational.
Show all time. I see you try to slide
Absolutely,
that in. Different
like,
world.
Yes, that's my favorite. Ooh, I love it. I watched that in college too, so it was extra perfect. Like, this is so great. Like I'm in the dorms and I'm watching them.
Hey, my bad. I just realized I brought up a Martin topic and I got an FN.
Right, you got a whole ass Martin shirt. Whole ass
did y'all catch that and I say
I
that?
did catch it earlier. I caught it earlier today. Hella missed it while we were talking about the subject though.
But yeah, I just hope like people don't start like trying to praise Netflix because, like I said, it's a lot of these black shows that I see all these streaming companies monopolizing this industry, and I know y'all not. There is no way possible y'all taking care of all these niggas.
They're not.
If Chappelle's complaining right now,
they only did it for
there's
Chappelle because he's Dave Chappelle.
Right. Exactly, and like I said, he already has a.
And Martin and Will probably like the only two from them big shows who probably are actually getting like.
And I feel like
stuff
Kevin Hart would probably be the only other black comic like that would be able to get that respect from Netflix because of the partnership. How much they've helped each other, how many specials.
If they didn't need them, they.
What can you do for me? Like,
that's what it's about.
Right. All right, man. Let's close it up with the our AGM conclusion dialogue. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it possible for your spouse to cheat on you without having sex?
Spouse or partner?
Either or.
Okay, that's fair.
Is it possible to be cheated on without having sex? Without them having sex?
Not what you. Not what you put people on blast.
Yeah, for sure it is. It is. I think anything that betrays like the trust that you have, like y'all have like understanding, even if it's not even like a verbal or written down, and saying you just have a mutual understanding.
Right.
Like, this is our relationship. You know your partner or partners well enough to be like, you kind of have an idea for what they expect from you and what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. So it doesn't just have to be sex. It could, emotional cheating is a thing.
All right, what about you?
I mean, I agree. It's controversial. However, I do agree.
That's the whole point.
I know, but playing the devil's advocate, it's like, I have been in a situation where it's like, well, I mean, bro's in a whole other state. We don't have no plans on meeting anytime soon. Did I kind of catch feelings while I'm technically in a relationship? Yes. Did I realize I was wrong? Was I guilty? Yes. I understood these problems, so I knew that technically what I was doing in my situation was definitely some form of cheating, because it let me remember, like, oh snap, I probably shouldn't settle in my current relationship. Oh snap, I can connect with other people on different levels that I didn't expect to be able to, because I've been in this relationship and that's all I've known. So yeah, I was like, all right, well damn, I should probably branch out and not settle. However, yeah, it is cheating because it brings about different controversy. Like Dorian said though, I feel like it has to do with the relationship too. Any relationship, and I'm big on communication, so I feel like any relationship should have a communication level of, are we exclusive? What do you expect, or what would you prefer or like out of respect for this relationship?
Right.
It's not always that simple for people, which I understand. It doesn't always come up that organically. However, it is important to consciously make an effort to see and check in what the parameters of what your prospective partner is looking for in a relationship or expects in a relationship, so y'all not stepping on toes and y'all can know if y'all really want to be in the relationship with each other. Because I feel like that's important. If y'all have a misunderstanding on what's cheating, what's not. If having girlfriends, even though you're not romantic or even emotionally cheating, if to your female that's cheating, you should probably get that understanding, as opposed to you having girlfriends 6 years down, or 6 months down the line, and now y'all about to break up because you didn't understand that she thought that was cheating from the jump.
Bro.
Right.
But you don't care if she has guy friends, because that's not cheating to you. That's friends. It's circumstantial. Ultimately, sure, yes.
But that was what I was going to touch on next, like going back to the forgiveness thing. Like, for you personally, is that like a deal breaker? And I know there's a difference if it's a partner or a husband or
And
wife,
there is,
so.
and I feel like there's difference in nuances of relationships, like, because with dating, people don't look at dating as talking is that's a whole nother subject for
Right.
we're gonna get into that, because I feel very strongly about that. But is it forgivable? Yeah, I feel like it can be. Granted, I feel like it depends on the extent of what the cheating outside of physical was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how long did you guys talk? Did you really feel like you could see yourself with this person? Like, do you really feel like this is somebody you want to be with? Because we don't have to have a charade. No. You might also not be able to get the chance to have your cake and eat it too, but be upfront and let the other person know.
So if it was like,
for me,
wham bam, mistake, one time thing, you'd probably be more accepted to forgiving that, rather than like a whole emotional attachment.
I feel like it depends. It's so circumstantial for me, because I'm a benefit of the doubt person, so I'm willing to look at different nuances to kind of give people passes for things that a lot of people would feel is unacceptable behavior. Like, wait, but did you think about these different reasons as to why they could have?
Right.
And for me, I feel like it'll be more like, all right, well, let's check in. Are we good? Because if we got things to work on, we got things to work on.
Get more to like what the root of
what the root of
is.
where that came from. Granted, for me, it's like, I feel like it might depend on who you're emotionally cheating with too. Because if it's somebody you've had a past with, an ex or something, then it's like, all right, well, so you're still confused. Right. I don't gotta be here for you to be confused.
Exactly.
But you don't get to have both. In that situation, if it's a random person, that's slightly different to me, because you don't have that history. You don't already have that established connection, history, physical relationship.
But they could still look at that person per
Sexually?
se, not just sexually, but just be like, you know what? Ideally, I would prefer this as my relationship than what I'm currently dealing with, because you never know what the circumstances of their situation is at the time. So if somebody's like with you, and then they're like looking at somebody else saying like, you know what, I would prefer that because it looks good when
from the outside looking
yeah,
in.
because you're not gonna see the flaws
or you don't know
off
that
the
person
top. Yeah,
yet,
you don't know them like that. You just
yeah.
know what they presented to you thus far, so they can be really looking at this person like, you know what, I actually can see myself in a long-term situation with that instead of what I'm currently with. Whether they regret it later on or not is beside the point. I'm just saying, as far as them, even if it is like a random person or somebody that they just met.
I guess I find it interesting and something that is so circumstantial or finicky when it comes to answering about is because that was literally like a situation I was in, where it was like, damn, well, I'm out here acting single for a couple months because I can and my dude's back at home.
Right.
And it's like, all right, well, I'm talking to him over text, we're FaceTime, and then it's like, oh, well, you're catching feelings. I see emotional connection. I could potentially see something. However, I'm not single.
Right.
I feel like the fact of guilt, yearning, not talking about where I was wrong was not communicating the fact that I was feeling unhappy. Okay. Waking up every day, even just as unhappy as the day before, knowing you're going to be just as unhappy or more unhappy, or you thinking about the next nigga when you sleeping next to yours, that's hard. And that's where guilt and, things like that come in. And I feel like it depends on the person, too. So, considering I'm the person wronged, I'd like to say, yeah, no, it shouldn't be a deal breaker. Like, no. It depends on the person, their experiences, their traumas, what their past relationships was like. If they've been emotionally scarred from that shit, that's a deal breaker for them, period. They're not going to accept that. They're not going to tolerate it. They're not going to allow anything of that nature if they've had negative experiences with it.
For sure.
I can't say I have. Yeah, I can't say that I have, especially with most of my experience being with me. But even when my ex went back to, when we were together and he went back to his ex, it's like, I had more so a problem. Like, you could have talked to, cheated. If you did cheat, I don't know. But if you did, anybody except for this person.
Right.
It could have been a random person and I would have been completely fine. But this is your ex.
Right. Who
I got you out of that situation. It's different. It matters on who the person is to an extent. That makes sense.
So, I mean, y'all both seen Baby Boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
You ain't seen Baby Boy?
Oh, God. We're going to have an episode where we're going to talk about black movies, and I'm going to allow y'all and give y'all the space to get on me and give me a list of all the black movies that I haven't seen, because I would definitely have my black card revoked.
Okay.
I've only seen one of the Fridays, and I'm pretty sure it was Friday After Next.
Damn,
that
not
I've
even
mainly
the first.
Yeah, right. I'm choppy with it.
We got you.
I don't even want to put myself on blast right now. We'll get into that on another episode. But
well,
yeah.
I'll come to you I was going to come to you anyway. So, you remember when Jody went to old girl house and all that to sell the clothes and spit? Is that cheating?
He did what, to sell her clothes?
When he went to a girl house, like toward the end. Remember the girl that worked with
yeah, that was cheating. She sucked his dick.
Okay, now, yeah, that's cheating. I mean, but then at the same time, it's like me being.
Okay.
Let's say that part didn't happen. Because that's what I was more so getting.
Because because
he left. Like,
that's a cheating in a very like black and white way of doing it. But the fact that he didn't have sex with her on some man shit, it's like, give that man his credit. Like, you feel me?
So that shouldn't be a deal breaker.
I would like for us to
constraint.
Normalize the fact that women could get credit for not succumbing to certain things too, because y'all got us fucked up. Thank you. I feel like we need to talk about it because y'all so quick. Men need their reward for turning down sex. No, females deserve credit for turning down sex. That shit's hard too. Like I
don't think so, because
I
think no. I'm gonna tell you why.
It's hard
because I feel like dick is at y'all disposal literally 24/7. Every time you open y'all inbox, walk outside and niggas say hi to you. It don't matter how small the detail, it's always there, and it's not the same for men.
No, but whether it's, for me personally, I feel like whether, despite accessibility, if you're there, fuck, I'm losing my train of thought. I hate my life. What were we talking about?
I mean, are you more so meaning like when there's a specific person you want to have sex with?
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, for women, it's like...
Oh,
that's being dishonest though, because we're not gonna act like it's the same thing.
No, because I feel like that's for what I was saying is more so in the moment. In the moment, a female is in the moment. A dude wants to have sex for her. Forget accessibility. if a female is tempted in a sense to where she's like, fuck, I really know, or I don't want to, or I know this probably isn't the right move for whatever reason you may have for yourself, but you still be tempted, it's like, well, he could just stick to tipping. I mean, and you know what that's gonna do? Like, that's full blown sex. Niggas would be like, all right, well,
tip sex.
Well, maybe we're just uneducated on.
I mean, I get it for women as far as like y'all have the urge. Like if they find a man that they like, and like the option is there, then the urge is just as strong, if not stronger, for us. So it's like, let's say, I don't know, I'll use Denzel Washington as an example because he's, you know, the guy that
nigga, they doing that.
But I'm just saying. Let's say there's a woman and she gets in contact with Denzel Washington.
Okay.
Like the urges for her is going to be stronger than like the urge for your typical nigga, like just in a random girl's inbox. You feel me?
Okay.
Even though like for and it's
but
also
the fact that it has to be that extreme for like a celebrity crush.
For them it has to be that extreme because like we said, women have, whether they want to admit it or not, they have like an unlimited supply of dick. It's an unlimited supply of dick, but because of that, it's like it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So, but they still find men attractive, they still sexual women, they still want to have sex. But it's just like they're more like, all right, I don't like this type of nigga, I want this type of nigga. So if I can get access to these type of niggas, then you know, let's have a party. But the reality of the world is like it's a mixed bag. Sometimes you're gonna have mostly it's gonna be bum niggas, and every so often.
But that be the situation though. Usually when a woman.
But I was more so getting at the specifics of you referencing Baby Boy, and he got props for getting his dick sucked. And
if you see the scene, you'll see it wasn't that black and white.
Sure, but say in this black and white situation, a female get her pussy ate. And being able to leave, she get the same motherfucking props. Period. I don't care.
To also go back to the Baby Boy thing, because you gotta understand what it's
and
like.
And that's fair.
I mean,
but like I said, I'm just talking the black and white.
So I can only speak from like just what I've observed. But for a man, it's like we have to really be on our stuff to get like pussy thrown at us. It's not like I could just walk out into the world and be like, I'm a man, and women come like, oh, here's some pussy. And like I get pussy pics in my inbox.
Single segment
ever. So for men, and then like society tells like you gotta have sex with a lot of women. So it's like you got that. The fact that pussy isn't. It's like you have to, as a man, you have to acquire some type of skill and swagger, money, and you have to acquire something to get pussy on a somewhat regular level. Like even let's say a rich nigga, of a celebrity nigga. He gets pussy at the rate that a regular woman has access to dick. Like a regular woman,
right, exactly,
who's like mildly attractive, she can get dick every single night from a different nigga if she really wanted to.
And that's fair.
And niggas would pay for it. On top of
niggas will pay for it. She can get dick from a billionaire nigga. She can get dick from a nigga that work at at McDonald's. Now a broke nigga, he can only get pussy from no one. Like, you feel me? It's like he gotta pay for it. He gotta trick a girl, and it's like, nigga, you got that one girl. Let's not count out the
demographic of females that aren't necessarily desirables, but there's somebody for everybody. That group of females, which end up being the broke niggas' baby mamas. Let's not forget, because that's a whole nother demographic of females who signed up to be with this broke nigga, have this broke nigga baby, be one of 5 baby mamas.
But usually it's because he has some type of confidence, some type of mouthpiece. It's
you'd be surprised. I've seen, granted, I'm in like a whole girl group page, like, so I see a lot of different shit where it's like, this nigga literally can't do shit for you, doesn't offer you nothing. Granted, I don't know your relationship through and through, but you ain't even paying it good. So it's like, here you are talking about this Asian nigga, yet you still tripping over him, you still pregnant with his kid, you still the 4th baby mama. To each his own, but not
I honestly think that kind of plays on the like psychology of women, which is like if a woman typically sees that other women want a man, or that another man like has access to a bunch of women, that automatically makes them like, What's up with
But
him?
it's something there.
Yeah, I want
That
to find
attracts
out.
more women when they see a woman with a man that's not that desirable.
But I get it. Like I won't never say that Jody didn't cheat when he got his dick sucked because he did.
Oh,
Bro,
I'm not
you
saying
bringing up that one,
see,
that
and
one part
I
though.
still can't agree
But
or
hold on,
disagree. I
let
haven't
me finish.
seen it.
Let me finish because like this. Let me set the scene up for you.
Okay.
He was wrong for being there in the first place. He should have never went
He
there
was selling clothes,
to begin
man.
with. He should. He knew what.
Okay.
Now, mind you,
We see where you rely on that.
when he gets to the girl's house, because he knows she works with his baby mama. Lights is dim, got the candles lit. You feel me? She got her little lingerie on, looking good. And, you know, they've been making eyes at each other the whole time. And, you know, she looking right. She like, you know, what's up? Like, you feel me? I'm not going to tell her nothing. Like, I'm not going to tell her shit. I just want some dick. And for a man and she attractive. So a man to turn that down, and she got the light, she got the move. She put a spell on him.
With more, okay, I'm going to throw out your last comment, but with more context, sure. I see where props are given. Granted, I'm a bisexual woman, so sometimes I have the tendency where I'm like, I don't know, sometimes I just want to fuck just to fuck. Sometimes I don't want, you know, I tap into nigga mentality, as some would be able to call it, where it's like, yeah, nah, why wouldn't I just get head and dip? And no, that's not cheating, I just handle business and with the problem. Like, but with that kind of situation, sure, he was strong in that sense for just getting head, because yeah, he could have. The scene was set.
Yeah, people was clapping in the theaters when he left. Like, even when they was like, yeah.
Right. And yeah, because part of me, my initial reaction was, he wasn't wrong. I mean, why he wrong for getting the blood?
And if you notice, like, you know, back to the point of like y'all accessibility, like that's why usually niggas is more hurt when they do get cheated on, because when y'all cheat, it be like somebody that got more money or just, you know, got something way more going for themselves than the current person they with, versus niggas sometimes you'll be like, damn, like that's who you cheated with, like all different people, like, so that's why it kind of hits on another level, you know what I mean, when women do decide to cheat.
So what do you view? You think it's cheating emotionally is a deal breaker?
Yeah, I'm
gonna say, was it a deal breaker for you? Because I don't think you ever really.
Well, I've been cheated on, I guess, but it didn't really affect me. Like, it was some physical shit.
And I've been cheated on and all that.
But I feel like if a woman cheats on you emotionally, it's done. It's done. Like, if she cheats on you emotionally, she's gonna cheat on you physically. They go hand in hand. If a man cheats on you emotionally, he might not cheat on you physically. If he cheats on you physically, he probably not cheating on you emotionally. He might, but I don't know. But if a woman cheats on you emotionally, she's gonna cheat on you physically. It's like, nigga, it's one and
that I can't disagree with, just even with the idea of when females check out a relationship, if females are unhappy, they check out sooner.
Yeah.
And then they end the relationship.
Right.
Or before the relationship ends. They have already checked out, and I did the same thing. That summer prompted a couple months of unhappiness to where I was like, fuck, I'm stagnant. I gotta do something. Hardest decision of my life, but you know, I had already mentally had been guilty, been thinking of other things, been already like, damn, this isn't gonna work. Like,
and you may hate this, but like with men, like I don't like usually when they do cheat, like sometimes it's just literally because they just had like a sexual urge. Versus women, it's what like kind of what he went to. It's because you emotionally checked out,
and that's where
you actually like invested in that point. Like some men can cheat and then the woman literally means nothing to him. He can go home and sleep like a baby.
And I understand that, but I feel like that's where even just the aspect of even in rap music, female rappers being more open about their sexuality. We need to break down that stigma that females aren't humans that have sexual urges and want to just satisfy them and keep it pushing just like men because we're fucking human. I feel like, but that whole stigma.
But y'all don't admit it as much because y'all get shamed more for it. So
I was just about to say that whole stigma with, like Dorian said, guys are expected to sleep with more women, and that's attractive or whatever, but appealing or what's expected of a man. Females, one too many bodies, and you whole ass written off for never being touched ever again. Like, wait a minute, and then don't get me started on the ignorant niggas who are like, oh, you have a baby, like. Let's not act like skin isn't skin. we're not gonna go there. It's not the episode for that. However, it's just I feel like that whole stigma, which is part of what I want to help break down, not just with y'all, but just in general with people, is just let's stop making it such a big fucking deal about women's sexuality as if we can't do it just like men do. Yeah, we're receiving big fucking whoop. Like, I feel like that people are so caught up with that whole aspect. Yeah, we still have the power of the babies though.
So to personalize it, you can have sex with somebody and just be cool with just that and not have no type of relationship with that person whatsoever.
I've had friends with benefits where it's strictly that. We call each other when we trying to fuck, and that's that. Literally, no kissing, no cuddling, no raw sex. That was our rules.
See, I can't do that.
And it was perfect. But that was for what it was. It was exactly what it was. Like, and
like, if I'm
don't get me wrong, I was single.
Right.
So he was just somebody that's my, like, I need somebody right now. You live less than 5 minutes away from me.
Right.
I'm not talking to nobody right now. If I'm talking to somebody that's different, then it's like, all right, well, I might not need to do that. I do like, yeah, of course, everybody likes kissing and foreplay and all that. Sure, absolutely. But for what we're trying to achieve right now, that human urge, just like I'm a nigga in this situation, we're just fucking just to fuck. Keep it pushing. We watch comedies, we watch some stand up, we joke around. We can even, we were open enough and friends enough to where we could be like, all right, if we haven't had sex in 2 weeks or so, what you been doing? Who you been talking? And we'll tell each other, like, we open, like, he don't care about none of that. I didn't care about none of that. Like, you can have sex with the person the day before me, and that's your business. Be safe. I already know your rules, so you gonna be safe. I already know mine. I'm gonna be safe. We're adults. Why we acting like we're not adults?
I see all the women that's watching this right now, like, girl, preach.
I don't know. It might get that way over time, like, especially because I'm gonna give out a different point of view that women either are afraid to talk about or just feel like it's not ladylike, it's too prudish, it's too explicit. Fuck all that. Let's talk about it like niggas talk about it, because we're human too, so.
You ain't closing sentences?
Well, if she cheats on me emotionally or physically, I will not forgive her. She is for the streets. And that is it. Done deal.
She don't got an AP. She is not mine.
You feel me? We can be if she cheats on me, then we can do that other thing. It's like, alright, you want some dick?
Right.
So you're saying she's for the streets if y'all not in a relationship, or if they cheat?
No, if we're in a relationship and you cheat, if I find out you're cheating on me,
then you're for the streets.
Then you're for the streets.
Oh, that's for
Which
sure.
means, you know, it's like,
teach his own. You know, that's your perspective.
I mean, we could.
So basically, you gonna place her in a different category than you had her before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but yeah, she's in a different category, essentially.
I mean.
Great.
Yeah, don't get yourself in trouble though. I'll let you leave it, like, because I was gonna inquire, like, don't get yourself in trouble.
She's demoted.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, yeah, we're not on the same caliber. Like, she in last place at that point.
All right, y'all. Great discussion. Sure, this will come up again at some point because very controversial.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in, man. Once again,
thank you.
You can like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's push this to the furthest extent, man. Like I said, you can hit any of us. Let us know the feedback, what you think, and we'll make sure to get the message to the other. If there's any topics you guys want us to bring up, send it to our email, allgrindmedia21@gmail.com. Again, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in, and see y'all later.
Thanks. Peace out.
Happy Turkey Day.
Happy Turkey Day.